Hey guys, Darth here, back with part 1 of my brand new main playthrough. We are playing through Wolf Tales. Welcome to Wolf Tales. It's a very cute visual novel, so apparently I'm in a mood. And we're hopping right into the next visual novel. We just came off of finishing yesterday our If My Heart Had Wings playthrough. And, yeah, and so we just came off the other side of finishing that, and it was fantastic, very emotional, very, very good. And so, you know, I was thinking about what to play today and what to jump in on next, and this is what I decided on. So, welcome to Wolf Tales. Obviously, it's super cute. Look at these girls, dude. Like, and they're all like wolf girls and stuff, and it's like oh man, it's my thing, dude. It's like my archetype. It's my favorite. Anyway, so yeah, obviously normally I don't record on Tuesdays, but as it turns out today, I had the day off for a doctor's appointment, and so while I had the free time, because the appointment was this morning and it went well, and so while I had the free time today, I was like, you know what, I want to record, so here we are, and so I thought I would use my extra time today with recording. So you get a bonus episode today, just a free one, just cause. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, so this is the very first episode that I will be using I will be reverting back to my old style of putting together audio. I have changed it, and so now it's in one file, and so now I can't change the audio balancing in post anymore with this new system for PC stuff, and so because of that, the audio balancing, I have to do a test beforehand. So I did do a test beforehand, and according to my test, this seemed like a pretty good level. But if it's not perfect, and if anything's wrong, it will be fixed in subsequent episodes. But this seemed like a pretty good place to start. So as always, it's a work in progress. Other than that, I did check. There was a free adult patch for this game, which of course I did install because, come on, that makes it more fun for me. And yeah, and so otherwise, this is completely blind, and I have no idea what this is like. Just like with a lot of games I play recently, and so yeah, we'll just see what happens. I don't know how long this game is either. I imagine there's probably more than one route. I imagine. And if there is, just like with If My Heart Had Wings, we will go through them all. So the first time through, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be blind. I'm gonna be completely blind my first time through, and we're just gonna play, and we're just gonna see what happens. And then once it's all said and done, and you know, after that, we will do other routes, and we'll try to kind of bring things, you know, bring things back a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. But I am, of course, hopeful that we won't get like a bad ending or anything first time through. Anywho, so yeah, let's hop right into it. A little bit nervous to start something brand new, but you know, here we go. I don't know if it's voice acted either, so we'll just see. Your gender and your name. Okay, well obviously we're gonna play as a girl, obviously, so I'll have to make up a name. Well, I mean that's kind of obvious. It's kind of obvious. Nailed it. Shazam. I didn't know what it was looking for. I was like, what are you after? Ah, there's us, dude. She's already so cute. Brr. I stare at the road before me, which is now barely visible thanks to the flurry of snow. Like I said, I'm a little nervous about the audio, so like I said, the audio balancing is a work in progress. Really sorry if it's not great. I'm hoping this is good. I'm hoping it's not terrible, because this is one of the reasons I went to the other system, is because it always made me nervous that like my first episode is going to be like really, really annoying and not very good quality, because obviously I don't know the stuff beforehand. You know what I mean, on the balancing stuff, so you know, it's work in progress. But anyway, so there's nothing we can do. I already did a sound test, so there's no reason to panic, so it's okay. Anyway, I stare at the road before me, which is now barely visible thanks to the flurry of snow. The storm had arrived violently while I was out, and before I knew it, I had gotten stuck in the middle of it. Almost home. My breath is visible in front of me as I creep forward on the snowed-over road. Even though my heater is on full blast, it isn't enough to ward off the freezing cold. I shudder to think of how cold I'd be without it. The sooner I get home, the better. I'd hate to get stranded out here in this. Yeah, I'm really happy we're doing another visual novel, dude. Like, I'm on a kick. I don't know, man. Like, it's because I have a legion of these things on my Steam, and with every time there's a sale on anything, I often pick up more, and so the backlog grows. So very happy to be doing another one. So I would say this is probably a a good decision. Wow, really? Both my meds are ready now? Good lord. Anyway, sorry, I was dealing with, like, getting my meds filled at Walmart, and now suddenly they're both ready, which is ironic because I wasn't planning on collecting them today. Now I wonder if later on today if I should go back out. I don't want to, but I also could ride my motorcycle. Anyway, we'll see, whatever. Anyway, slowing my truck to a stop in front of the cabin, I turn the key in the ignition and shut it off. The heater immediately stops blowing, and I can already feel the chill hit me. Time to brace myself for the freezing winds raging between me and the cabin. Here goes. I rush inside as quickly as I can, shivering from head to toe despite my thick clothing. The moment I slam the door shut behind me, the sound of the wind howling outside quietens. I think that word's completely correct. That's just my stutter coming into play. And the chattering of my teeth fills the room. It's warmer in here, but not to the point where I can whimsically toss aside my extra layers and flop down on the couch. If I suddenly remove all my extra layers right this instant, I'd probably pass out from the change in temperature. Whose idea was it to start living out here anyway? As the sole occupant of this cabin, I expect no response to my rhetorical question. For better or worse, I decide for myself that I would live in these snowy mountains all on my own. Dude, she's a girl after my own could living the dream. If I could find a way to get to somehow make money and stay employed while living out in the middle of nowhere with a really great internet connection, you're damn right, dude. Humanity would never see me again. Absolutely, dude. Some lone cabin. If I could find employment somehow, and if I could have a great internet, I would just I would only ever leave if ever I had to. I don't know. I might leave for more than just because whatever groceries, but that would absolutely be something I would do. Anyway. Alright, tea, a bite to eat, and then I'll turn in for the night. In the middle of a snowstorm like this, it's important to keep nourished and warm. After reminding myself to adhere to a few basic survival tips, I fill the kettle with water and turn it on. Man, am I glad I have electricity out here. Without ready access to hot water, there's no way I'd survive out here. I should have enough food to last until summer too, by which point I'll be able to go into town without freezing to death. Life out here might just work out after all. It's pretty uncommon for a woman to try to live in an isolated place like this. In fact, I'd no doubt raise concerns for anyone wondering why I'm out here. Thankfully, my life had been uninterrupted and peaceful thus far. Not to mention at the time, this cabin was my only option. I do have a flavored water with me, and I will be sipping on that as always. Fun fact, these things are carbonated, and when I opened it exploded. So my part of my jeans are all wet, part of my shirt's all wet. Because usually I catch it in time, but, I haven't had one that almost exploded on me in so long that I just, wasn't overly worried about it, and so I was like, it'll be fine. And so I didn't bother. And, the one time I was a little less careful than normal, it exploded. So now I smell like strawberries, and which is not the worst thing, but my right thigh is all cold, because it's all wet now. Anyway, and for not a weird reason either, just water. Anyway, the moment I think so, my body begins to shiver once more. I feel cold wind brush against my cheek, threatening to give me frostbite if I dare to take off any layers of clothing. That's weird. I shouldn't be this cold inside the cabin. I know there's a snowstorm out there, but the cabin is pretty well insulated. It shouldn't be this cold unless the door's open. Curious about the source, and also desperate to stop the cold, I walk through the cabin trying to figure out where it's coming from. Oh, it's because the door is open. After checking all the windows, I wind up near the back entrance of the cabin. And surely enough, as soon as I spot the back door, I have my answer. Aha! Gotcha! I hurriedly clear away the snow at the base of the door, which seems to have stopped the door from opening or closing any further. I then close the door, lock it, and have a few things in front of the door to prevent it from opening, even if the lock were to break. That ought to do it. But how did the door get open in the first place? I could see myself forgetting to lock it, since I'm all alone out here anyway, but there's no way I'd forget to close it. Is the latch broken? Oh, forget it. I'll think about it after I've had something warm to drink. I turn away from the door and begin to walk towards the kitchen. No sooner than have I begun to move my foot, however, when I realize that the floor is soaking wet. Ah, some snow must have blown in and melted. I guess I better clean this. Up? My eyes widen as I realize something important. There isn't one puddle of water. There are several. Following a clear, non-linear path, the puddles show me that the path someone or something has taken. Damn, an intruder? Or maybe a wild animal? I instinctively grab an axe that I keep for wood off the back wall. Sorry, whoever you are, but a girl can't be too careful. We're a long way from medical help out here. Axe in hand, I head deeper into the storeroom, prepared to defend myself against the potentially dangerous person or animal that has wandered into my home. Moving further inside, I cautiously move around the table and... Oh, and there's a cute girl! Hell yeah! And I don't have to edit, I don't have to censor that. Hell yeah. Anyway, freeze. Obviously she's shivering up. Hey, look at that, right click on accident. Opens the save game slot. Neato. Anyway, sorry, I accidentally right clicked. Obviously she's freezing to death. What the? My arms lose all strength as I stare at the peculiar sight in front of me. On the floor in my storeroom is a girl. She's shivering, wet, and her breath is ragged. Red-faced, yet blue in the fingertips, the poor girl looks like she's about to freeze to death at any moment. And yet, what attracts my attention is that tail and those ears. It couldn't be. Without thinking, I drop my axe on the floor and reach out towards the girl's ears. I gently tug on her ear. Wow, like it's so familiar. I gently tug on her ears, trying to pull them off or otherwise expose their stitching. However, the girl, no matter how hard I pull, there's no sign of it being a practical joke. That's such an aggressive way to like meet somebody. As far as I could tell, those wolf-like ears are real. Impossible. She really is a half-human? That can't be right. I made absolutely certain that this place wasn't intruding on the domain of any half-humans. So apparently, I guess in this world, there's obviously fantasy elements. That's not the weird part. She's, you know, they do exist. She's just not near any or whatever. So it's like, obviously in this universe, whatever it is, right? Did I make a mistake, or is she just... Obviously, still shivering. Before I can mull over the girl's presence any further, her whimper brings me back to reality. Right, whatever the reason for her presence here, it doesn't change the fact that she's freezing to death in my cabin. I'll worry about the details later. For now, I have to make sure she doesn't die. I grab a towel from one of the shelves in the storeroom and immediately began to dry the young girl off. The moment I make contact with her skin, I realize just how close to death this girl really is. Her body's so cold that I can feel it through the towel. Her skin is deathly pale and she can't stop shivering. Desperately, I rub the girl's body, trying to both dry her off and warm her up. However, no matter how much her body moves about, she does not stir. The girl's breathing, but unconscious. Even if I tried to, I don't think I'd be able to wake her up. Okay, so when she was like obviously the picture, her eyes are open, but you know she must be in a somehow a slightly different position because she's obviously unconscious. So if she's unconscious, then obviously that would explain a little more of like if she's like whatever, like unconscious on the floor somehow shivering, you know, she's very cold, near death. Then that would explain why our character Scarlet was able to like touch her ears and stuff and have her not like flip a lid. You know what I mean? Anyway, shit, this isn't working. I'm gonna have to step things up a notch. So, the other thing that occurs to me too, so obviously, like I said, I did install a free 18+, you know, adult patch. So, just like with If My Heart Had Wings, I will cut anything out that's just like, depending on how aggressive, like any kind of ecchi scenes might be, in the same style. But if something is happening on screen where there's something that I can't show, but like dialogue-wise, it's not like awkward and I'm okay leaving it, I think even with this new audio method, I think I should be able to censor it just the same as I did before. With the old audio method, I don't think that should make a difference, and so I should be able to censor things on screen just like I did before. Still not very high quality here. It's not like I know how to blur stuff or anything, but I can, in my very low, very terrible quality, I think I should be able to censor things just the same. So, otherwise, there should be nothing new on that front. Anyway, many hours pass by as the unconscious wolf girl continues to rest. Over time, her breathing gradually becomes less ragged and color returns to her skin. The incessant shivering comes to an end, her lips stop quivering, and a faint yet peaceful smile appears on her face. It's still too soon to rest easy. It seems like the girl's gonna be just fine. Or while it's still too soon to rest easy, it seems like the girl will be just fine. Anyway, whew, I was worried for a while there, but it looks like things have finally calmed down. I guess some dry clothes and a long sleep in a warm cabin were all she needed. Feeling good about myself for having been able to help out, I watch the girl sleep for a while as I contemplate what to do next. The snowstorm has died down now, so I should probably have this girl leave as soon as she wakes up. Though, I suppose I could at least feed her first. She must be famished after sleeping for so long and almost freezing to death. It would be heartless for me to not at least. She groans. While in the middle of thinking out loud, the wolf girl finally begins to move. What starts out as a faint groan quickly turns into visible movement on her part. The girl's eyelids twitch and I can see her lips trembling. In a matter of seconds, she will no doubt open her eyes. She obviously yawns. That was quite a... Huh? The girl's eyes open wide as she starts to gain her bearings. Her eyes dart around the room, trying to fill in the blanks in her memory. She's so adorable, dude. Yes, I remember now. I got caught up in the snowstorm, didn't I? I finally found shelter, but I thought my mind was just playing tricks on me as my body started to shut down. Am I really alive? You sure are, at least as far as I can tell. Ah! The girl jumps in fright as she finally notices my presence. You are, this is... The girl tries to speak, but fails to formulate a proper sentence. With that being the case, I decide to explain the situation to her, giving her time to calm down. I found you in my storeroom, shivering and unconscious on the floor. I dried you off and brought you inside, but it was hard to tell if you were gonna survive or not. Your fingertips are already started to turn blue by the time I found you, and your breathing was a complete mess. Listening to my calm explanation, the girl looks down at herself. She pinches her clothing, seemingly surprised at how clean and dry they are. My clothes. Did you... I avert my gaze. Yeah, I did. Your clothes were wet, and you were at risk of freezing to death. I couldn't just leave you like that. Just like me, the girl blushes and looks away. Wolf girl or not, she must surely be embarrassed to have had her body seen by a stranger, even if it is another girl. Rather than adopt an expression of anger, however. Thank you. Huh? The girl forces herself to look at me once more. With eyes filled with sincerity, she continues to speak. I'm a trespasser. I broke into your cabin, intruded in your home, and dared to use your shelter as my own. Yet, despite all that, you went to such lengths for me. Oh, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. It wasn't really that big of a deal, though. You were caught in the middle of a snowstorm. If I were in your situation, I would have broken in too. Besides, all I did was dry you off and clean your clothes. It was really nothing major. It is something major. If you hadn't taken pity on me, I would have... died, for sure. Before the girl can finish speaking, she was interrupted by the sound of the kettle whistling. Ah, sounds like breakfast is ready. Excuse me for a moment. I move away from the girl and head towards the kitchen. Once I set foot in front of the kettle, I grab an additional ceramic bowl from my guest since she has now woken up. Breakfast? You mean to say that it is now morning? That's right, you were asleep for a solid 12 hours. Wow. After emptying 2 packets of instant noodles, one into each bowl, I pour in the boiling water. I then place a fork in each bowl and bring them back into the living room, careful not to let the water spill over the sides. Alright, here you go. Make sure to give it a few minutes to cook before you eat it. As I set a bowl down on the table in front of the girl, she stares at it quizzically. Eat this? What is this, some kind of soup? Kind of, they're instant noodles. All you need to do is put the noodles in a bowl, add hot water, then wait for a couple minutes. They're quick, easy, warm, and quite tasty. I begin to stir my noodles around with my fork as I speak. Watching me carefully, the girl hesitantly picks up her fork, stares at it for a moment, then mimics my action. Yeah, that's good, just like that. You gotta stir them up a little so that the flavoring is distributed evenly. The flavoring? It adds additional flavor to the otherwise bland noodles. Have you ever eaten instant noodles before? The girl shakes her head. And I'm familiar with many aspects of human culture, including some which our respective races do not share. Even so, instant food is an entirely new concept to me. Is that right? I stare at the girl in partial surprise as she responds with unexpected eloquence. Far from my mental image of half-humans being savages, this girl seems to be more human than wolf. Oh my goodness, I just realized something. I've been preying on your kindness, yet I haven't even given you my name or asked for yours. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It doesn't really matter, though. It's not like you'll be staying. I am Mirari. Mirari? Oh, man. Why is every name so hard to pronounce with my stupid stutter? God, why? Mirari. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. The first time saying any word is difficult for me. Like Mirari. Now that I've said it once, it'll be a little easier to get it out later. It was like Aoi and If My Heart Had Wings, dude. Like, couldn't say his name for crap for a long time. And it got a little bit easier with repetition. Anyway, I am Mirari. That's gonna take a minute. I'll get used to it. My pack resides on the other side of this mountain. I was away from the pack when the snowstorm hit, and I wound up being unable to return to them. Thank you again for taking care of me. Speaking almost too quickly for me to understand her, Mirari introduces herself in a panic. She takes a few quick breaths immediately afterwards, then finally begins to calm down once again. Pleased to meet you, Mirari. My name is Scarlet. I've been living in this cabin by myself for... Scarlet. Yeah, yes! Scarlet. Okay, that ought to do it. Do what exactly? Oh, my apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt. Human names all sound strange to me. If I don't repeat them out loud, they're too difficult to remember. Oh, I see. Anyway, Mirari. Yes, Scarlet? I think it's ready now. Huh? I glanced down at our food. The noodles have begun to expand after absorbing some of the water, and the steam rising from the bowls has lessened considerably. If we're going to eat our fill, now's the time. Oh, yes, of course. Mirari picks up her fork and takes another look at the bowl. She raises her fork out of the bowl and licks the water off of it as though she was trying to eat soup with a fork. After watching Mirari do this a couple times, I interrupt her. You can drink the water last, after you've eaten all the noodles. Just watch me and do what I do. Under Mirari's watchful gaze, I pick up my fork. After pushing it into a clump of noodles and turning the fork a few times, I raise the fork to my mouth. I take a big mouthful and happily begin to chew the warm, filling noodles. I see. The food is submerged and the water's too hot to touch, so you use a tool to bring the food to your mouth. And she's like, pretty much. Now why don't you give it a try? Huh? Me? Of course. That's why you were watching me, remember? Don't worry, it's dead simple. Just get some noodles on the end of the fork and bring it to your mouth. Oh, okay. I'll give it a try. Mirari nervously picks up her fork once more. Mimicking my actions to the best of her ability, Mirari clumsily scoops up a large number of noodles. She then raises her utensil, at which point most of the noodles slip off her fork and fall back into the bowl beneath. Luckily for Mirari, however, a couple of noodles manage to hang on to the utensil, and after quickly examining the foreign food one more time, Mirari hesitantly places them in her mouth. You see how much easier it is for me to say that word, say her name now that I've said it a few times? Like, it's much easier. Like I said, with my stutter, it's often, like, going into a name that I have to pronounce the first time. I mean, for some names, like, is more difficult. Like saying Katori. Like, Katori for me is not a word. I mean, it's just because it's on my brain. That's the reason I keep bringing it up. Anyway, it's like saying, like, Katori or whatever, Scarlet or whatever. Lots of words are totally fine, but some words are much more difficult. I can't tell you why, it's just a stutter thing, I don't know. But some words are much more difficult, like Mirari, for instance. It does take a little more willpower to get my mouth to obey and say what I want. You know what I mean? Anyway. Is it good? This is delicious. It's absolutely amazing. You can, how could something this tasty be cooked in such a short period of time? Well, obviously I'm not gonna be mean. Obviously. Hang on, can I? Yes, you can, okay. Hopefully I remember. Save game, okay. Hopefully I remember that right click opens it because the options disappear when the choice comes up. So obviously you can say you're just hungry. I don't know, because this one sounds so mean. She seriously doesn't know how to use a fork, but again, it might be one of those misleading things. But maybe you're just hungry? I don't know. Huh, you're exaggerating. I like instant noodles as much as the next person, but at this point, I'm pretty sure you're hungry enough that even stale bread would taste good. Anything tastes good when you're hungry, you know? The moment I finish speaking, a faint grumbling emanates from Mirari's stomach. Her face is tinged red as she looks down, silently regretting the unfortunate timing of her body's honesty. Despite her embarrassment, Mirari picks up her fork once more and continues to eat. See what I'm talking about? Anyway, it's perfectly natural to become ravenous out here. Your body burns a lot of calories warming itself up when you're out in the cold. After surviving that snowstorm and sleeping for so long, I'd be surprised if you weren't hungry. Just as Mirari is about to bring her fork to her mouth once more, she suddenly stops. Ah, the snowstorm. I hope she's all right. She? No, it's nothing. I was just talking to myself, that's all. Ha ha. Clearly hoping to avoid questioning, Mirari quickly brings the fork to her mouth and takes another bite. The moment she does, her lips curl up at the sides and a joyful smile appears on her face. After a few tries, Mirari has gotten the hang of eating with the fork. Fueled by hunger, she devours most of the noodles in no time at all, leaving little more than water behind. If I'm not careful, she might finish her own portion first and then start on mine. She's so adorable, dude. Alright. The music is really good in this game, can I just say. You know, really quick. Hang on a minute. This was an option here. Okay. So I think the light color is selected. Yeah, because this one lights up. So, because this one you can say, skip scene messages, and this one is after choices, stop skipping. Okay. I imagine that'll be very useful when we return for other routes. Which no doubt there are. Anyway, once the two of us have finished eating, I grab our bowls and take them into the kitchen. Ah, are you going to wash those? That's the plan. Unless you'd like to give them both one more lick before I do. She's like, don't remind me of my shameful behavior. Hunger truly does turn one into a different person. It's fine. I'm not exactly the kind of girl who eats at fancy 5-star restaurants, you know. Be that as it may, I was not going to ask if I could lick the bowls. Rather than that, I was just thinking that maybe, if you'd like, I could clean them for you. You want to clean the dishes? Mirari nods vigorously. It's the least I can do after you treated me with such a scrumptious meal. I had to turn down the music in my headphones. It was like really, really popping. Anyway, okay then. Look, I'm not gonna turn down an offer for help, but do you even know how to clean dishes? Of course I do. Why wouldn't I know something that simple? Mirari tilts her head and gazes at me with an expression of apparent confusion on her face. So, forks are new to you, but you know how to wash dishes? Fine. If you say you can do it, be my guest. Yes, I will. Thank you, Scarlet. Mirari happily takes my place in front of the sink, which is currently filled with dishes. Displaying unexpected knowledge of human appliances, she carefully turns the handle next to the tap, causing water to flood the sink. She then twists it back the other way in order to stop the flow of water, and finally takes one of the bowls at hand. Huh, that's rather surprising. For someone who seems so skittish from the moment she woke up, Mirari seems to be unexpectedly familiar with human inventions. Maybe half-wolves are more civilized than I thought? I've always pictured them as wild beasts who run around naked and hunted with their claws and teeth. Despite that, Mirari has been closed since the moment she showed up here, and she hasn't done anything particularly strange or unruly. If anything, she's like an ordinary human being who's lived on the brink of society for just a little bit too long. As I compare Mirari to an ordinary human being, my mind flashes back to the moment I found her. Cold, pale, shivering, and dressed in human clothing, seeking shelter in a cabin. Apart from her ears and tail, everything about her screams human. While thinking back to our initial encounter, one more thought crosses my mind. Having found her dressed in wet, disheveled clothing, I made sure to remove Mirari's clothes, then wash and dry them before dressing her once more. At that time, even though it was not my intention, I did get a good look at her naked body. Yep, just like a human, alright. She's like, what am I thinking of? Oh, I was literally about to say as a joke, but she did say that. Anyway, oh, wait, what am I thinking about? Have I really been isolated out here so long that I'm having indecent thoughts about another girl? Bad, Scarlet, get your mind out of the gutter. Just as I pull myself back to reality, Mirari suddenly turns around to face me. Okay, all done. Huh? The dishes, I finished cleaning them. I unconsciously turned my head towards the sink. To my surprise, the sink, which was filled with plates and utensils I've been meaning to clean for days now, is empty. All of the items which needed washing have been cleaned and placed on the rack to dry. You cleaned everything? Of course. I couldn't just clean 1 or 2 bowls and call it a day's work. Well, I wouldn't have blamed you if you had. Really, you didn't need to do all that. Don't be silly. I did this because I wanted to, not because I had to. Besides, if I'm going to be staying here, I need to make sure I earn my keep. Oh, okay then. As long as you're fine with it, I guess. She's like, wait a minute. Shuffling off with a bright smile on her face, Mirari quickly disappears into the next room. The moment she does, her words dawn on me, and a look of confusion creeps into my face. Wait, staying here? Earn my keep? Mirari was just talking about the night she's already stayed, right? Or is she actually assuming that I'll let her stay another? I look out the window as I contemplate kicking Mirari out. No matter how nice Mirari is, it's against the rules for humans to associate with half-humans in any way. Why? Even though the snowstorm has died down, it may not be over yet. And even if it is over, the snow underfoot is likely to have been dislodged and moved around by the storm, making it dangerous to walk on. If one adds to that the blistering cold, not to mention Mirari's near-death experience, it's clear that sending her out would not be a good idea. I can't kick her out, not yet at least. No matter how much I prefer to be alone, I'd be eaten away by guilt if I sent that nice young girl to her death. Besides, it's not like I can't accommodate one more person for a night or two, and I am curious about how half-humans like Mirari live. For now, let's just call this a sleepover, and then in a couple of days when Mirari's feeling better, we'll go our separate ways. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. You keep telling yourself that. I wonder why they're, like, not supposed to associate with each other in any way. What the hell's up with that? Anyway. Okay, I finished dusting, tidying up the storeroom, and washing your clothes. Please tell me what you would like me to do next. I stare at Mirari in blank amazement as she announces her productivity with vigor. A short while ago, when Mirari asked if there was anything else she could do to help out, I half-heartedly listed several chores which I had been putting off doing myself. To my surprise, Mirari seems to have completed all of the tasks I offered to her far more quickly than I would have. You're done already? Yep, I even managed to get the bloodstains out of your yellow blouse. Bloodstains? What the hell should you do? Seriously? Been trying to get those out for months. How are you so good at this, Mirari? I don't think I've ever known a human being half as prompt and hardworking as you are. You're praising me too much. I'm really not anything special. Don't sell yourself short, Mirari. Not many people could walk straight into the home of another race and outdo them like this. That's not only because I'm used to this kind of work. That's only because I'm used to this kind of work. This is nothing new to me. I raise an eyebrow at Mirari's odd response. You've done this stuff before? I kind of want to ask, though. Alright, hang on a minute. Okay, lots of saves. Ah, okay. And then so it looks like each one of these. Oh, hell yeah, dude. They give you freaking 48 slots. Good. Oh, and then you can, like, cycle through them like that. Okay, got it. I guess cleaning clothes is a given, since you've been wearing them from the moment I found you, but Just how similar is half-wolf culture to that of humans? Are your homes just like ours? Do you do the same chores that we do? That's a bit... I mean, some of us live in houses, though most of us don't. Ah, so you're one of the few who do? That's lucky. Yes, well, that's because I... Oh, bang, bang, bang. Princess! Princess? Oh, my lord! Anyway. Mirari freezes as she hears someone shout, seemingly frightened by the voice of the one calling out. Uh-oh. Rather than pay her reaction any mind, however, I turn towards the door in irritation. Oh, come on! I chose this place because it's supposed to be away from civilization. How have I gotten 2 visitors in as many days? When I get my hands on the agent who sold me this place, I'll... Oh, my lord. She's intimidating. I like her. Princess! Wah! The moment I open the door, my body's thrown to the floor. I barreled over in a heartbeat before I can even lay eyes on the interloper. Ow, what the heck are you doing, you little... wolf girl? My eyes widen in amazement as I spot yet another girl with furry ears and a tail. I slowly raise to my feet, taking my eyes off her only for a second as I close and lock the door once more. Mirari, is this girl a friend of... Princess! Eep! She's like, eep! Mirari cowers behind the couch as the new girl shouts at her. Maybe they aren't friends after all. Wait a minute, Princess? Curious about the girl's relationship, I decide to butt out for a minute and allow them to converse. Why did you follow me here? I should have made my intentions perfectly clear. Don't ask stupid questions. You're our princess. Of course someone is going to come looking for you. But it was a blizzard out there. You could have been killed. The same goes for you, princess. How could I not be worried when you suddenly went out in the middle of that storm? I didn't ask you to worry about me. I could take care of myself, you know. Oh yeah? I could totally see that by the fact that you're seeking refuge with a human. How unsightly. Our princess boarding with some low-life human. Scarlet is not a lowlife. She took me in when I was cold and hungry. She gave me food and shelter, and none of that would have been necessary if you'd stayed with the pack. Yikes. Whatever this lady's done for you, the fact of the matter is that the situation is a result of your own selfishness. You can't just suddenly declare that you're leaving, princess. It doesn't work like that. I know that. I know I shouldn't have left without giving notice like that, but nothing. You're safe now, and that's all that matters. Now come, let us return and tell your mother the good news. She must be worried sick about you. Princess, I don't want to go. What? What do you mean you don't want to go back? This is our pack we're talking about. You must return. I don't think she's having it. I'm not going. The hell you aren't. The aggressive half-wolf girl grabs Mirari by the waist and forcefully drags her towards the door. Mirari tries to resist, but it's clear that this new girl is much stronger than she is. Before this forceful girl can reach the door, however, Uh-oh. I don't really think I should, like, charge in and, like, clock her or anything. Like, she'd probably tear my head off. I guess I'll call out to her. Wait a minute. Hearing my shout, the girls both turn to face me. What is it? Do you have a problem with us taking our leave? Well, not exactly. It's just what? Spit it out, human. I breathe a deep sigh, then glare at the forceful wolf girl. What is it? What's with that look you're giving me? Are you trying to intimidate me, a proud soldier of... Shut up. The girl flinches as I speak to her in a serious tone of voice. I take a few steps closer and the new arrival backs away. No matter how brave she is, half-humans know instinctively to fear humans, and I'm no exception. If you want to leave, that's fine, but I am not going to stand there and watch as you force Mirari to go along with your willfulness. But I can't leave without the princess. If I do that, I'd be banished for sure. And if you leave with Mirari, you'll be putting her in danger. Listen to me. Just last night, Mirari was both freezing and starving. She could have died given the state she was in. I'm not about to let you drag her out into the cold to her death, do you understand? Sulking, the girl nods. Dude, that's so cool, dude. Scarlet just is like, hey, I don't frickin' think so. She just, like, laid down the law. Anyway. Faced with the very real prospect of Mirari's death, she can't bring herself to refute my words. Scarlet, does this mean you'll let me stay a little longer? That's right, just until you're healthy enough to be up and about on your own. Oh, thank goodness. Thank you so much, Scarlet. You have no idea how much this means to me. Just letting you stay in this dumb shack of hers. It's nothing worth being thankful over. Now, don't be like that, Fuyu. Oh, I know. Why don't I make lunch with the 3 of us? Lunch? 3 of us? I raise an eyebrow at Mirari's proposition. Fuyu, on the other hand, begins to wag her tail with her ears clearly perked up. That's right. Won't it be wonderful to eat hot food together in this warm, cozy cabin? Well, when you put it that way, I guess it doesn't sound that bad. Huh? Don't just decide things on your own. I never said that this rude girl could stay. Upon hearing my complaint, Mirari's ears begin to droop. She looks at me with big, watery eyes, as though silently pleading for her friend to join us. I mean it, no uninvited guests. And besides, we just ate breakfast. It's too soon to be... Whimper. Fuyu stands beside Mirari and pulls the exact same maneuver. Like a pair of puppies, they look up at me pleadingly, appealing to my conscience and humanity. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Fine, do as you please. Yes! Woohoo! The moment I give my consent, Mirari and Fuyu both start to jump up and down. Tails wagging, teeth showing, they both appear to be thrilled by the notion of sharing a hot meal together. This calls for a celebration. I'll make something extra special with plenty to go around for all three of us. No, don't do that. Like I said, we only just ate breakfast, so I'm really not hungry. Something special, like what? Does this girl bring a bunch of amazing foods from human civilization? She sure did. I've only tried one dish so far, but I'm sure the others are just as delicious. Hey, are you two even listening to me? No celebrating and no serving for me, got that? Oh, I can't wait. I'm getting hungry just thinking about the princess's delicious cooking. Glad to hear it. I'll get started right away. Let me just head to the storeroom to find something to cook with. And she's like, wait a minute, stop it. She's like, I just live alone in this little cabin. I only have a finite amount of food. Ignoring me until the very end, the two girls run off towards the storeroom, enthralled by the promise of delicious food. Oh, forget it. I'll be gone soon enough anyway. For now, let's see if Mirari's as good as cooking as she is at cleaning. Wow, look at Scarlet, dude, going with the flow. Even though she's like, whatever. She's very like, I don't like people. Which is relatable, right? Very relatable. Obviously, eating. So good. Princess, you have outdone yourself. I watch on with both caution and amazement as Fuyu eats her fill. Given a half bowl of canned peas and other kept foods, all either steamed or stewed to perfection by Mirari, Fuyu hasn't put her bowl down once. If I want her to use cutlery, I want to tell her to use cutlery, but at this point I'm afraid to interrupt. From the beginning, Fuyu is either lowering her face to the bowl or lifting the bowl to her face. The fact that Mirari brought out spoons has apparently failed to register. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. This girl was subjected to the same terrain and conditions as Mirari. It makes sense that she'd be famished. Maybe I should offer her my bowl as well? The moment I place a hand on my bowl. Ah, Scarlet, you're gonna eat as well? No, I was just... It's okay. They're all foods from your storeroom, so they should definitely suit a human palate. She's like, yeah, thanks. I know we're all eating my food. That's really not what's holding me back. It's really good, I promise. I'm actually quite pleased with how this meal turned out, and I would love for you to try it and give me your feedback. I don't know. Look, I'll make it easy for you. You don't even have to raise your hand. Just say, ah. Mirari uses her spoon, the one she's been eating with until now, to scoop up some of the food in my bowl. It's fine, really. Like I said before, I'm not hungry. And she's like, no, I just said, She's like, fine. Sighing internally, I finally give in. The moment I do, Mirari happily places her spoon in my mouth, at which point I close my lips and trap the spoon's contents. I chew the soft, warm mush, which doesn't really need to be chewed at all, in the swallow. How is it? Do you like it? With her tail wagging and ears pricked up in anticipation, Mirari carefully observes my expression. They're both kind of the same bit, right? Like, that's the same sentiment. I don't know which one is kinder, though. It's better than my cooking? Yeah, it's good. It's definitely much better than anything I know how to make. Really? You don't say. It's kind of vexing to think that someone I'd initially thought of as a savage can cook human cuisine better than I can. Oh well, when you live in a place like this, it's the nutrition and warmth that matter, not the taste. Ignorant human, did you actually doubt the princess's skills? Cooking is just one of the many skills expected to be drilled into the future mate of our next pack leader. Mirari's like, ugh. Mirari turns away as Fuyu casually reveals her situation. Whoa, hold on a second. Mirari, you were taught to cook so that you could please your future mate? That's right, it's Mirari's responsibility to... She's like, shut up! Mirari hurriedly covers Fuyu's mouth before she could say anything else. What manner of nonsense are you spouting, Fuyu? I cook because I enjoy watching others eat my cooking, that's all. If I plan on mating with the next alpha male, I wouldn't have run away in the first place. Mirari's words intrigue me, but I decide not to pry. Obviously, she's not, she's not gelling with whatever's future's thrust upon her. Clearly. Anyway, whatever has happened to these two girls until this point is none of my business. If Mirari would rather run away from home than find a mate, that's completely up to her. I'm just a kind stranger who took pity on a near-death young girl. What she does with her life I saved is not for me to decide. There you go. There you go. Aw, dude, they're so cute, though. They're all sleepy. Seriously? Don't you think you should at least wait for the food to settle first? So full. Scarlet, you should eat more too. I already ate plenty, thank you. Though it was nothing compared to what the two of you ate. Shortly after the three of us finished eating, Mirari and Fuyu both let out big yawns, then curl up next to one another on the couch. Sharing their body warmth, as I imagined they would often do out in the snow, the two girls snuggle up close to one another with looks of contentment on their faces. I don't have to censor anything there, do I? It just occurred to me, hang on. No, I think we're good. We're good. We're not actually showing anything. We're fine. It's totally fine. Sheesh. I want to tell them off for going to sleep right after eating, but when I look at them both like this, without realizing it, I begin to smile. Just yesterday, I found Mirari on the floor, cold and shivering as she narrowly avoided death. Then today, Fuyu suddenly barged into my cabin. She's been running her mouth all day, and we haven't enjoyed a moment of silence since she arrived. But for now, if only temporarily, the two girls seem to be at peace. Sleeping soundly, comforted by the presence of their partner, the two wolf girls look like a pair of young pups clinging to one another in an unfamiliar environment. Previously afraid for the other's safety, they have now found one another once more and can finally be at ease. I suppose I can let Fuyu stay for tonight as well. Oh, excuse me. I'd feel bad trying to separate the two of them now. Besides, I've been alone out here for a long time now. A day or two in the company of these girls shouldn't kill me. Hell yeah. I enter my bedroom for a moment and open the closet. Hang on a minute. Drink break. A few seconds later, I return with a blanket in my arms, which I use to cover the girls. Even if you leave this cabin tomorrow, for tonight you two are my guests, so sleep well. Resisting the urge to ruffle the girls' hair as they sleep, I return to the kitchen with our bowls and utensils to clean up. For now, I'll let the girls rest, and tomorrow we'll see what awaits us. Scarlet could use this, man. She's all alone out here, which I get, but like if you could find some friends or possibly love interests, why wouldn't you want that? If it was right, you know. Anyway, I wake up bright and early as the morning sun lights up my room. In spite of the hellish blizzard from 2 days ago, it seems that the weather has begun to clear up, and the freezing cold is becoming more tolerable by the day. At this rate, I'll soon be able to go outside without overdressing. Filled with optimistic thoughts, I leave my bedroom and return to the main living area. The moment I enter the room, the strong odor reaches my nose, and I instinctively turn to look towards the kitchen. Come on! Isn't it done yet? No matter how many times you ask, breakfast isn't going to be ready any quicker. If you're looking for something to do, why don't you go wake up Scarlet? I'd rather smother her in her sleep. Just you try it, you little brat. See what happens. Ah! Fuyu jumps back in surprise as she suddenly hears my voice directly behind her. Oh, Scarlet, you're awake. Just in time. Breakfast will be ready shortly. Please, take a seat. I'll bring the food out when it's ready. Oh, okay. I'll leave it to you then. Having no intention of stopping Mirari while she's cooking, I do as she suggests and sit down on the couch. Grr. Miserable human, preying on the princess's kind nature. Oh, shut up. It's not like I asked you to cook me breakfast or anything. Besides, you seem pretty eager to take advantage of her kindness yourself. Just a second ago, you were sitting on the floor with your tail wagging like a dog waiting for its master to feed it. Yikes. A dog? You're comparing me to a dog? Well, yeah, that is what you look like. That is what you looked like. Besides, dogs and wolves are pretty much the same anyway, right? Do not insult me, human. Wolves are nothing like dogs. I smirk to myself as I enjoy Fuyu's reactions. Oh, how so? I thought dogs and wolves were descendants of the same ancestors. That doesn't mean we're the same. You wouldn't mix up a human and a monkey, would you? Dogs are pitiful, subservient creatures who only know how to bow before human beings. Wolves, on the other hand, are proud hunters. We do not need the help of any other race to survive. So a proud, independent creature like a wolf would never do something like, I don't know, sleep in a human's cabin and eat their food. Fuyu's face contorts in displeasure. Her claims of independence hold little weight at the moment, given our current predicament. That's different, is it? Grr. Well, what about you? Me? Yeah, what are you even doing out here? This is no place for a human being to live, let alone a human female. What? Were you exiled or something? Is this your punishment? Were you caught doing something heinous and banished from society forever? Yeah, that must be it. You did something unforgivable, and you were sent out here to live with the rest of your days in solitude. How could I have missed this before? Now I feel in danger just being in the same room as you. A look of panic spreads across Fuyu's face as she slowly backs away from me. Would you please stop smearing my good name? I moved out here of my own free will because I don't get along well with other people, that's it. Hearing my explanation, Fuyu stops backing away and begins to look at me with her eyes filled with curiosity. You don't like other humans? That's the short version, yeah. Then what about us? You and Mirari? Fuyu nods. You let us both into your home. You forced your way into my home. And you haven't tried to kick us out or anything. Is having us here causing you distress? Definitely not. Absolutely not. Not particularly. I almost reply yes without thinking, but before I can do so, Fuyu's puppy dog eyes kick in once more. Looking at her pitiful, pleading eyes, I can't bring myself to call her a nuisance. I don't know. It's a bit weird to have you two here, but it's not the same feeling I get when I'm around other people. Honestly, I'm having a hard time thinking of Fuyu as a person. Well, you know, what are you supposed to do? She really does seem more like a mischievous puppy than a rebellious young woman. Maybe it's because I like animals, or maybe it's because I like animals, but I guess you two aren't so bad. That's just my impression for so far, though. Given another few days, I might think quite differently. Is that so? Fuyu analyzes my answer carefully. She doesn't appear to be particularly invested in my answer, nor does it bring her any joy. Her question was one posed out of curiosity with no ulterior motive. Well, I wouldn't worry about you changing your mind. After all, the princess and I will be staying long enough for you to get sick of our company. No matter how warm it is here, we must return to our pack as soon as possible. Works for me. A couple of nights is more than enough. I've done my good deed for the year. Now I just want to be left alone. I nod in agreement with Fuyu's statement. I understand. I won't try and stop you from returning to your pack. As soon as you two are ready to leave, I'll set you off. Yeah, you'll be missing them before long. Don't you try to deny it. Hang on. Sorry. Quick drink break. I'm all congested still. I started taking allergy pills because I think what my problem is allergies with like a lot of the congestion and a lot of like my eyes itching and stuff. I think it was allergies, and so I started taking allergy pills, and it has made it better. It's a lot better, especially the eye itching part. But the congestion part does happen time to time anyway. But it's not as bad as it was, so I don't know. It's a step in the right direction at least. Anyway, okay, princess, time to go. Fuyu? What are you talking about? Please don't play dumb, princess. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've had your fun, now it's time we return to our pack. Already? But we only just... That's my point. We must leave now, before we grow accustomed to this lifestyle. Relying on humans is no good, princess. We must return to our own kind. Once the three of us have finished eating breakfast, Fuyu wastes no time before making good on her promise. The satisfied smile, indicative of a full belly, disappears from her face, replaced by a serious expression and a tone of voice to match. Do we have to go back, no matter what? I quite like it here, and... Princess. Fuyu grabs Mirari by the shoulder. Do not be selfish. You have troubled this human girl enough as it is, not to mention the worry you have no doubt caused our kin. It is time for us to return. But Mirari turns away from Fuyu and casts me a sidelong glance. It's okay if I stay here a while longer, isn't it, Scarlet? Princess. I won't cause any trouble, or do anything you tell me not to. I'll cook and clean, I'll help you out as much as I can. So, please. Princess. I avert my gaze as Mirari begins to plead. No matter the reason for her desperation, I can't afford to let her stay. My supplies were only enough to last me through winter, and that's also the ethical question of my interfering in half-human affairs. Is it like a half-human law thing, or is it like a human law thing? And also, why? Anyway. Plus, Fuyu said it herself, Mirari's family and friends are waiting for her. Her place is with them, not here with me. Mirari. Please, Scarlet, just let me... I place my index finger on Mirari's soft lips. Mirari, don't you think you've worried your family enough as it is? You belong with the rest of your pack. Oh, so sad, dude. I understand. Oh no! Mirari gives up without a fight as I quickly shut her down. Her eyes downcast, she slowly trudges towards the door, not looking back even once. Thank you for not making this difficult, Scarlet. Mirari may act defiant at times, but she's a reasonable person. Hearing you tell her to go home should be enough. Yeah, no problem. Feeling bad about turning Mirari down, I find it hard to look Fuyu in the eye. As my eyes wander around the cabin, I suddenly realize something. Oh, hold on a second. I take a pair of coats off the coat rack and present them to Fuyu. Here, take these. It's cold out there, you need to stay warm, and we're about the same size. In response to my offer, Fuyu shakes her head. I appreciate your kindness, but I'll have to decline. Our tolerance for the cold is significantly greater than that of humans. And anything less than a blizzard, garments such as those will only get in our way. Oh, I see. I take another look at the outfits Mirari and Fuyu are wearing. Indeed, there's no way I would dare dress so sparingly out here, nor would any normal girl. If those two are comfortable while wearing so little, they must indeed have a far greater tolerance for the cold than I do. In that case, I guess this is goodbye. Maybe I'll see you two again someday? Don't count on it. We live on the other side of this mountain. Were it not for the snowstorm, we would have never met to begin with. This shall be our final farewell. Confidently asserting so, Fuyu turns her back on me and heads towards the door. As she does so, however, Mirari no longer seems ready to leave. Mirari's eyes shift back and forth. It seems like she wants to say something to me, but can't quite bring herself to speak. Come along, princess. Let us not delay our departure any further. At Fuyu's command, Mirari lowers her head and walks along obediently. Mirari slowly unlocks the door, then regretfully sets foot outside, gently pushed along by her dear friend. Moments later, the door slams shut, and at last, I am all alone once more. Oh no, dude, no. Tell him she could stay. Oh, dude, she's gonna be she's gonna just be like, you know, gonna be honest. She's like, I like the solitude. It's why I moved out here. But now, I'm kind of missing I'm missing my wolf girls. Anyway, she's not gonna be happy like this, dude. She's never gonna be able to let it go now. I mean, maybe she doesn't realize it yet, but it's darn true. For the next hour or so, I find myself wandering around the cabin aimlessly. Having already slept and eaten, there's honestly very little remaining that I need to do. I have enough supplies to last for a while yet, it's too cold outside to think about working, and my hobbies are all the type to be enjoyed while resting idly. Put simply, I'm bored. Solitude may be its own reward, but the cost at which it comes is clear. There's nothing to do out here during the colder months, and even when things warm up, the choices can't compare to those available in the city. At least with those two wolf girls around, things were a bit more lively. Other people are a nuisance, but a pet could be just what I need. That being said, what kind of pet would be suitable out in the middle of nowhere like this? Giving myself something to think about, I decided to turn on the radio in the kitchen. After adjusting the frequency and waiting for a short while, I'm able to receive the weather forecast, which paints a rather placid picture. Maybe I should go out and get some water while it's still mild outside? The weather can change out here at the drop of a hat, so it never hurts to have a surplus. Interesting. Yeah, see, even she's realizing it. She's like, man, you know, I liked the solitude. She's like, but it didn't, being around those two did not feel like it does being around humans. You know what I mean? She's like, and I don't like people, but I liked those two. And, you know, she's realizing that there's a void now, and she's like, feels weird without him. Which is good. She's gonna need this, I feel like, to grow as a person and be happy. Anyway, I grab my coat and head for the door, resolving myself to be slightly more active than usual. Before this pleasant weather changes for the worse, I'm going to shore up my supplies just as any prudent survivor should. It's a good call. Keep the mind busy while you're trying to forget how lonely you are. Well, like, there it is. It blew in just like that. Oh, brr. Who the hell thought it would be a good idea to fetch water? Everything has turned out to sludge out there. The entire landscape has changed since before the snowstorm. I hurriedly closed the door behind me as I returned from gathering water. Unfortunately, my trip proved fairly fruitless, as the spring from which I usually gather drinking water has been temporarily blocked off. The snowstorm has shifted the terrain, making my usual routes either inaccessible or far more dangerous than usual. Screw it, I'll just stay inside after all. It may be boring to stay indoors all day, but at least it's safe. Still shivering slightly, I regret removing my coat and flopped down on the couch. Covering myself with a blanket, the same one I used to cover the two sleeping wolf girls yesterday, I settle myself in and try to make myself comfortable. Let's see now, where did I put the remote? If it isn't within arm's reach, I'm not getting up to look for it. I look around the immediate vicinity of the couch. Unfortunately, the remote is nowhere to be seen. It's still probably in the kitchen from where I last watched TV while cooking. Sorry. I guess I'll just sit here then. What a fun person I am. Dude, she's realizing how lonely she is, dude, and now suddenly, like, none of it seems okay anymore. Huh? As I sit in silence, I notice a faint sound. It sounds like a voice, but it's too quiet for me to understand what they're saying. Oh, great, now I'm hearing things. Maybe I've lived alone out here far too long after all. I try to ignore the voice by focusing my mind elsewhere. However, the voice doesn't disappear. It seems to cut in and out, with ample static cropping up in between words. What the heck could that... Oh, right, the radio. I unintentionally rise to my feet and turn towards the kitchen where I've left the radio turned on. Seeing as how it's battery powered, I figure I'd better turn it off if I'm not using it. Before I can do so, however, I hear something ominous from the other end of the radio. Bad weather, incoming, screech. Avalanche last night, paths have changed, advising caution. Phew, it's worse than I thought, huh? Now I'm definitely not going outside. I turn the radio off and grab the TV remote, which is sitting on the kitchen counter. I then return to the living room and sit down on the couch, remote in hand. Okay, now, where were we? See, here's the thing. I wonder, is she gonna, think, oh, man, but if the routes have changed, there was an avalanche, what if they can't get home? She's gonna be like, what if they're stranded out there and they can't find their way home? What if she starts worrying and, charges out to go try and save them? I'm telling you, man, she's gonna have a change of heart. She's gonna realize that she needs those two in her life. Anyway. Okay, now, where were we? Ah, yes, let's find something to watch, shall we? Now, what did I start watching last time? Before I turn on the television, I go to wrap myself up in the blanket I had used to cover myself just a minute ago. The second I do so, however, I felt a chill run down my spine. Oh shit, the girls. They wouldn't know about the avalanche last night, or the bad weather that's about to hit. I told you, dude. If they get caught up in that, and they find that their path back home has been blocked off, those poor girls might be... You're damn right, dude. You damn right you know what we're about to do. Saving it, obviously. I better go find them. Oh, hell. How can I sit back and relax knowing that those girls might be in danger? I can watch TV anytime. For now, I've got a couple of wolf girls to track down. Hell yeah. She's got to go save the girls, dude. She can't just let them, because they're not going to know. Anyway, covered in several layers, I head out into the frozen wasteland before me in search of the two wolf girls. Upon starting my drive, I quickly realize that the cold is the least of my worries. As I noted earlier, and the radio confirmed, all of the usual scenery has changed since I last ventured outside. Familiar landmarks are gone, paths have been blocked off, solid ground has been replaced by sleet. If I'm not careful, I might end up getting stuck or lost myself. You gotta find them, Scarlet! You gotta find them! Okay, now, where would those two girls have gone? I've never been on the other side of the mountain, but if memory serves, I follow a vague recollection I have of the map I purchased when I first moved out here. The actual pathways have obviously changed since then, but my memory gives me at least a hint as to the direction in which I should be heading. Now then, if I remember correctly, it should be this road here. Or at least it was, back when there was a road. You gotta go get her, dude. I dig, whatever that is, a Land Rover or, a Suzuki Samurai, whatever that's supposed to be. Anyway, I came to a stop at the road I'm following I came to a stop as the road I'm following appears to end abruptly. A few hundred feet in front of me from where they would generally be a road, there's a huge pile of snow. From my point of view, it's impossible to bypass. Oh man, I guess the road is blocked after all. Maybe there's a path or something that I just can't see from here? If I move a bit closer... You gotta find him, Scarlet! I force myself to get out of the truck, shivering as the blizzard rages. My legs may be weary, but my stomach is full, my body's warm. If those girls are out here, I'm going to find them. Mirari! Fuyu! Are you two out here? Mirari! Fuyu! I call out the girls' names as I head closer to the obstructed pathway. As I near the wall of snow, a vague figure appears up ahead. Squinting, I try to discern the identity of the being in front of me. Mirari? Fuyu? Scarlet! Fuyu! Hearing Fuyu's surprised exclamation, I rush over to the figure up ahead. Once I get closer, I realize that it's not just Fuyu, Mirari's with her too. However... Scarlet, please help me. Mirari suddenly collapsed while we were walking, so I carried her myself, but the path is... I know, most of the paths have changed, or have been blocked off. You won't be able to get through here, not today. Huh? But then, what shall we do? Mirari's unconscious, she needs somewhere warm to rest, and something to eat, and... Calm down, Fuyu. If you panic, you're just gonna make things even harder on yourself. For the time being, you're both coming back to my cabin. I'll help you carry Mirari back there, and we'll make sure to keep her nice and warm. No, but we couldn't possibly... I wasn't asking. You take one arm, and I'll take the other, got it? Yeah, I understand. If it's for the princess, then... Hell yeah, dude, Scarlet's like, I wasn't asking. It's just like, hell yeah, dude. She knows. She's like, I want you guys back in my life. I'm so lonely without you. I thought I could let go, and I can't. Anyway, Fuyu comes to her senses and grabs hold of Mirari tightly. I do the same, grabbing Mirari's other arm and wrapping her arm around my shoulders. Like so, Fuyu and I begin to carry the unconscious princess back to my truck, braving the hellish blizzard once more. Hell yeah. So happy, dude. Through great exertion, and with much difficulty, I managed to bring Mirari and Fuyu back to my cabin safe and sound. While the two girls aren't injured, it seems that they are both utterly exhausted, while with Mirari still unconscious and likely running a fever. Fuyu is sick with worry and clearly overexerting herself, but otherwise appears to be fine. How's Mirari doing? Any change? In response to my question, Fuyu shakes her head. Still nothing. The princess won't wake up at all. Ah, too bad. Oh well, just give her some time, she'll be okay. I hope so. Fuyu sulks as she shrugs off my optimism. It seems that her concern for her friend is not so easily dismissed. You know, Mirari was in far worse shape when I found her. As long as she kept warm and given a chance to rest, I think she'll definitely pull through. For the time being. Positioning myself directly behind Fuyu, I place one hand on the girl's head. Oh, maybe she's like, for the time being. Like, it wasn't like, she'll be okay for now. Like, you know, I don't think that's what she was saying. Anyway. I'm more worried about you, Fuyu. Me? Why would you be worried about me? Is that really so strange? You were out there in that blizzard too, you know. You even wound up carrying Mirari all by yourself before I got there, not to mention the panic and stress you would be suffering from. So, how are you holding up? Do you need anything? Do you need anything, Fuyu? Is there anything I can do for you? Don't be absurd. Your concern is entirely unnecessary, human. Fuyu pouts and turns away with a red tinge to her cheeks. You should focus your attention on Mirari instead. She's the important one here, not me. I would have gladly given my life if it meant bringing her back home safe and sound. I begin to rub Fuyu's head while chuckling to myself. So what you're saying is, you're so concerned for your friend's happiness that you give up your own life in order for her to achieve it? That isn't what I said. I just don't want the pack to suffer because of that girl's selfish whims, that's all. Yes, I understand. I continue to pet Fuyu as she sulks. That's so cute, dude. That's so adorable. Despite her usual temperament, she doesn't push my hand away, nor does she appear to dislike the contact. If she weren't so proud, she might actually give in to the feeling and lean in closer. But you know, Fuyu, as great as it is to be loyal, you shouldn't put so little importance on your own life. Just as the pack misses Ferrari, I'm sure they miss you too, and I know for a fact that if you were gone, Mirari would be devastated. So, don't just throw your life away, okay? Take care of yourself, just as you take care of Mirari. Hell yeah, dude. See, Scarlet cares. She needs this contact too, and she just doesn't realize it. She thinks she doesn't care. Like initially, she's like, I can shrug him off. I don't care. But like that right there, she does care. She can't let it go. Anyway, after a long night of watching Fuyu fuss over Mirari, I eventually turn in for the night and go to bed. Convincing Fuyu to do the same proves surprisingly difficult. She's adamant about being there for Mirari and doesn't want to leave her side. It isn't until I convey to Fuyu the expected time at which Mirari will awaken, a complete lie on my part, that Fuyu finally agrees to rest. She snuggles up next to Mirari, just as they had when they slept on the couch together previously, and before long, Fuyu is sound asleep. Sheesh, those two really are a handful. Maybe I shouldn't get a pet after all. Looking after those two is already tiring enough. Well, I guess I'd better go see how the two are doing. Well, yeah, you won't need a pet if you have those two. Anyway, if I'm lucky, maybe they'll have slept in. But despite my optimism, the very first thing I see upon entering the living room is the sight of Fuyu towering over Mirari. I mean it. I mean it. I'm feeling much better now. Really, I can get up on my own. I don't care if you're feeling better. No means no. If you're gonna stay in bed and rest. Got it? No, but what about breakfast? I'll make breakfast. You keep resting until I bring your portion over to you. Would that really be all right? You haven't received the same training that I have. Don't worry about me. It'll be a piece of cake. How hard can human cuisine be anyway? If Scarlet can make it, then there's no way that someone like me won't be able to. Oh, really? That's quite the declaration there, Fuyu. Fuyu freezes up the moment she hears my voice. With great hesitation, Fuyu slowly turns her head until she's looking me out of the corner of her eye. Scarlet, how long have you been standing there? Long enough to hear you promise you'll be making us all breakfast. Do you need me to show you where the storeroom is? Well... Fuyu averts her gaze as she tries to avoid my question. It seems this rowdy wolf girl doesn't possess her princess's knowledge of such things after all. Scarlet! Before I can tease Fuyu any further, Mirari calls out to me in a surprisingly assertive voice. Yes, Mirari? Scarlet, I apologize. Huh? Princess? Fuyu and I both stare at Mirari in surprise as she hangs her head. Even after you told me to leave, even after I resolved myself to stop relying on your kindness, here I am once again. I burden you once more, forcing you to take care of me even after you've already done so much for me. I just want you to know that this is it. As soon as I'm able, I'll leave the cabin and never come back. I will not bother you ever again. Princess, despite the fact that Mirari's now agreed to leave without a fight, even Fuyu can accept her downhearted proclamation. If Mirari had been able to declare with a smile on her face that she would return to her pack, I would wish her well. Fuyu would happily lead her along, the duo would return home, and that would be the end of it. Given Mirari's current state of mind, however. Think before you speak, Mirari. If you say something that stupid, there's no way I'm gonna let you leave. Scarlet? Scarlet? Listen to me, Mirari. This is twice now that you almost died because you've gone out unprepared. The weather's been unpredictable lately. The paths have changed. Half the snow underfoot is unstable. I'm not going to be held responsible for you running off to your death, Mirari, so until I say otherwise, the two of you are staying right here with me, got it? You mean that? We can stay? I nod in confirmation. Princess, did you hear that? We can stay here after all. Oh, this is such a relief. Yes, Princess. Happy for you, Princess. Totally. If you must linger a while for the sake of your recovery, then I have no choice but to keep you company. The two girls join hands and bounce on their heels, hearing expressions of joy as they do. Contrary to Fuyu's words, it seems she's just as relieved as Mirari. You're so transparent, Fuyu. Can't you just say honestly that you don't know how to get home and you're afraid of putting Mirari in danger again? Chuckling to myself, I move closer to the two girls. Remember, this is just until the weather clears up and you're able to make your way back home. I'll be listening to the radio every day for any mention of the snow being cleared up or the weather improving. Yeah, that is until she gets attached and she's like, I changed my mind, I don't want you ever to leave. Understood, we shan't stay our welcome a second time. When the time is right, we'll leave without a fuss. The hell you will! You ain't going anywhere. I don't think so. Definitely not. By the time noon had rolled around, the weather outside seems to have improved. Not to the point where I have any confidence in making a long trek, but at the very least, it seems as though I'll be able to scout out the area. Alright, I should take this opportunity to check out the new landscape. In particular, I'll see if the path Mirari and Fuyu were taking yesterday has cleared up at all. After confirming on the radio that the weather is set to remain unchanged for the rest of the day, I begin to put on my boots and coat. Scarlet? Where are you going? Oh, Mirari. I was just going to check out the terrain, now that the weather has stabilized for a bit. I'll be back before long. I'll come with you. No, you won't. I gently flick Mirari on the forehead as if to punish her for saying something unreasonable. You just stay put and recover. I don't want you overexerting yourself. But I can't just continue to leech off your kindness like this. I need to make myself useful. It's the least I can do, considering everything you're doing for me. I appreciate your feelings, but if you come with me and you faint again, you're only going to cause more trouble. Mirari sulks as she points out the major. Mirari sulks as I point out the major flaw in her offer without hesitation. Listen, I know it's kind of rude to ask this of a sick person, and I'm not implying that this is all you're good for or anything, but if you're really itching for something to do, why don't you clean up a bit or make lunch for when I get back? Or only if you're feeling up to it, of course. Yes, absolutely. It would be my pleasure, Scarlet. Thank you. No, you really don't need to thank me for assigning you chores. Without wasting a moment, Mirari skips over to the storeroom where I keep all of the cleaning supplies. It seems the specter of illness means nothing to Mirari after all. Dressed suitably, I head out into the snow. As I go to close the door behind me, however, I feel something block my way. Hey, watch it, Scarlet. Oh, sorry, Fuyu. Fuyu pushes past me, and this time I close the door for real. Wait a minute. What are you doing out here, Fuyu? What, do I need your permission to go outside? No. Well, no, I guess not. But given the timing, it's like you were following. You're going to check out the terrain, aren't you, to see what's changed and where you can get through? If you're going to try to reach our den, then you'll need a guide, and I can hardly allow the princess to go, given her current condition. She's like, it's not like I care about you or anything. I never said anything about visiting your den. Oh, fine, you can come along. Just don't get too far. Just don't get too far ahead. Fuyu runs off before I can finish speaking. Oh well, if she's this lively, it shouldn't be a problem. Besides, I was planning on checking out the path those girls took yesterday. I guess the only change of plans is that now I'll be doing it with company. Hell yeah, dude. Following after Fuyu, I soon reached the stretch of snow that I found the two girls yesterday. While visibility has certainly improved, the path itself is still blocked off. At a glance, it doesn't seem like there's any way to get through. Still no good, huh? Maybe if No, that won't work. I hate to break it to you, Fuyu, but it doesn't look like you'll be getting through here, not today at least. I know. Even so, I can't just give up and return empty-handed. What would the princess say if I returned without securing a route home? She'd probably be relieved. You may want to go back as soon as possible, but I get the feeling Mirari isn't so keen. Whether she wants to return or not, the princess understands that we must. As such, it's my duty to ensure that return is made possible. Well, good luck with that, unless you have a snowplow handy. I don't think you'll be getting through here anytime soon. Scratch, 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 scratch. Fuyu, you cannot dig your way through. Not with that attitude. Scratch, 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 scratch. Oh, seriously? At least wait for the snow to melt a bit. Trying to dig through there right now would be like clawing your way through stone. Don't underestimate the might of Fah! Fuyu suddenly jumps up in fright as some of the piled snow falls onto her. It seems that having Fuyu dig at the base of the snow has caused it to shift under its own weight. Haha, you alright, Fuyu? Ah, don't laugh at me, human. Sorry, it's just the way you shrieked like that. Oh, dude, look at that, look at her. She's so adorable, dude. Also, hey, achievement, snowball fight. You think it's gonna come with some sweet art? Anyway, whoa! I dodged at the last second as a snowball narrowly misses my head. What are you doing, Fuyu? You could have hit me. That's the point, you fool. Whoosh. Ah! Fuyu's second snowball clips my shoulder, knocking me off balance. You little... Haha, stupid human. That's what you get for making fun of... Ah! Without rising to my feet, I quickly ball up some snow and hurl it towards Fuyu, just barely missing her torso. What the heck do you think you're doing? Throwing a snowball. What does it look like? You can't do that. I'm the one throwing snow at you. What are you, a little kid? I don't need your permission to defend myself. Hup. Yeah, stop that right this instant. Make me. Grr. Fine then, we'll see how you like it when I throw a snowball at you. Well, yeah, that's how this fight started. Whoa! I duck to the side as Fuyu throws another snowball at my head. The moment I correct my posture, Fuyu has already started to ball up another, and she's getting ready to throw it. Sheesh, give me a break. How can you do that so quickly? She's like, humph! Someone who wears those ridiculous things on their hands will never be able to match my speed. Oh yeah? We'll see about that. Hup! Haha, too slow. Maybe I should give you a handicap, human. Don't underestimate me. But don't underestimate me. Before I realize it, I find myself becoming more and more invested in the outcome of my snowball fight with Fuyu. What starts as a cheeky bit of fun quickly develops into an intense showdown, with both sides putting in far more effort than one would expect. As strange as it may seem, I'm actually having fun. Yeah, it's because you're like having relationships with people, man. Like you're a hermit in the woods. Like you're like, I hate people, but like I like these two. It's meant to be, man. Spending every day out here, struggling to stay warm and keep my supplies up, I sometimes forget that the upsides of being surrounded by snow. When was the last time I even thought about having a snowball fight, or making snow angels, or engaging in any of the fun yet childish activities? Maybe this place doesn't have to be the barren wasteland I always think of it as. After all. She's like, haha, missed me. Stop moving. Not gonna happen. Fuyu turns around and wiggles her butt in my direction, mocking me. At that moment, I reveal a second snowball hidden behind my back and throw it as quickly as I can. Kya! Gotcha! She's like, oh, did you have to throw it there? The snow is dripping from onto my pants. It's really cold. Or into my pants, sorry. So wear proper clothing next time. It's not my fault you're dressed like that. Fuyu dances around, trying to shift the snow that's trickled under her clothes. A few small pieces of snow fall out, but judging by the expression on her face, there's still more to come. Chance! What? What are you doing? Can't you see I'm preoccupied? That's exactly what makes it such a perfect opportunity. Hup! Yeah, stop it! Make me. And she starts laughing. Despite her complaints, Fuyu laughs happily as she dodges my opportunistic onslaught. Dodging while simultaneously removing snow from her clothes, Fuyu displays dexterity I could only dream of possessing. And there, that's the last of it. You'd better prepare yourself now, Scarlet. Grinning from ear to ear, a playful smile adorns Fuyu's face as she hurriedly begins to create another snowball. No matter what she says, it's clear to me she's having fun. Fuyu may be abrasive and direct, but it looks like even she has a fun side. She's also pretty cute when she smiles, and it's evident that she cares deeply about Mirari. My first impression of Fuyu might have been wrong after all. If Fuyu were just a little bit more honest and less defensive, she might actually make a pretty good housemate. Hell yeah, dude. That's why she's gonna make a great housemate. They both are. It's gonna be great. Delivered? Gasp. Hey guys, I have good news for you. I mean, it's not that important for you, but an Amazon package of mine got delivered. I wonder if it's a front door kind of package or a mailbox kind of package. Hopefully mailbox. I'm assuming it's mailbox, because if it's probably the patch, it's probably pretty small. Anyway, I ordered a it's all related to channel stuff in the end and in the long run, so that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm ordering lots of things. There's developments in the background for my channel, and some fun new video ideas coming up. I'm not going to talk about them yet. I'm not ready for that announcement until it's a little more likely, until it's a little more set in stone. But for those plans, and I'm not going to go into detail, but for those plans, I ordered a backpack, and the backpack has uses. And on the backpack, there is a spot for a patch. Like a patch you might put on a hat or like a biker vest or whatever. And so I ordered one, and I'm really excited about it. I'm imagining that's what's here. And So that's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, my patch might be the thing that's here, which makes sense because and there's only one other thing coming, and it's coming from like Japan, so that other one's coming from a lot farther away. Anyway, and so yeah, so that's really exciting. In time I'll show you guys, but that's part of the video plans down the road, and it'll have to be much warmer before I engage too heavily in any of that stuff. Anyway. Upon returning to the cabin, Fuyu and I are greeted by the delicious smell of home cooking. Awaiting us in the kitchen is Mirari, who seems to have just finished cooking as we return. Without wasting any time, Mirari greets the two of us, placing 3 bowls on the table, and invites us over to eat. This is so good. Nothing like a hot meal after playing around in the snow. Playing around? I thought the two of you were going to check the terrain. No, I wasn't playing exactly. It was more like a grudge match? A grudge match? Between whom? Relax, Mirari. That's just Fuyu acting tough. We were having a snowball fight. That's enough out of you. Fuyu covers my mouth in a fluster. Unfortunately for Fuyu, she's already far too late. A snowball fight? How marvelous. How I wish I could have joined you. I pull Fuyu's hands away from my mouth and smile wryly at Mirari. Sorry, we didn't mean to go off and have fun without you. Oh no, I'm not blaming you. In fact, I'm pleased to see the two of you getting along so well. Getting along? Who's getting along? I was simply defending my honor, that's all. You were getting your ass handed to you. Please, you were begging for mercy, little girl. Black. Fuyu sticks her tongue out towards me and then returns to eating her lunch. Oh, she's like, bleh. Probably something like that. Anyway, sighing in defeat, I pick up my fork and start to do the same. After taking a few bites, I realize that I'm being watched. As I raise my head, I find that Mirari still isn't eating. Instead, she simply is watching me eat with a satisfied look on her face. Aren't you gonna eat as well? It can't be that interesting to watch us eat. Oh, but it is. It brings me great joy to watch others enjoy my cooking. Is that right? Do you cook for others often? No, I'm afraid not. I've been practicing for years, but it's rare for me to get the chance to feed anyone. Oh, right, you said something about undergoing training before, but you never get the opportunity to put your skills to use. What's the point of training? They will be put to use. Really? When will that... Seconds! Before I can finish speaking, Fuyu thrusts her bowl between Mirari and I. Obviously, probably trying to interrupt the moment. She's like, it's probably for the whole future alpha male thing, and it's probably, obviously, it's a sore spot. Anyway, at a glance at the bowl, now I realize that there's still a small amount of food left in the bottom, and Fuyu is chewing as she speaks. Oh yes, right away. Gosh, Fuyu, you're never full, are you? Nope, I need all the energy I can get in order to do my job. So feed me well, princess, it's for your own benefit. Yes, of course, I'll get right on that. Watching the conveniently timed interaction between the two, I realized that Mirari doesn't want to talk about the subject we were discussing any further. And for my part, I'm happy to drop the matter. I don't need to know every aspect of these girls' lives. If there are things that they don't want to tell me, then that's perfectly fine. As long as the three of us can get along together, the finer details can be happily forgotten. And that's the spirit, dude. He's like, it's fine. She's like, I don't have to know all the nitty-gritty. They can have secrets. They can have a backstory. Shortly after the girls and I finish eating lunch, I sit down with the two of them and face them with a serious look on my face. For all of my optimistic thoughts about the three of us getting along without sweating the details, there is one matter which we must still discuss. Alright girls, it's time to talk about your plan. Our plan? Our plan for what? Both wolf girls tilt their heads in unison at my vague question. Your plan to get home. It may not be possible to get through right now, but you're gonna need some kind of idea on how to get back home. I mean, I won't tell you to get out right this minute, but surely you aren't planning on staying here forever. Of course not. Who would want to stay in this human cabin? Rest assured, princess, I will find a way to get us back home in no time. Mirari's like, oh, joy. Is it really necessary for us to go back? Let's see. I only know one path over to the side of the mountain, but there are sure to be others. I guess I should start to go out scouting for a little while each day and familiarize myself with the area. Human, how well do you know this area? A week ago, I would have said I knew it well, but after the weather we've had recently, I can't really say. She's like, so this human is useless, as expected. I guess it's up to me after all. You're quite a rude little girl, you know that? Though I guess I'm oftentimes not much better. Paying no mind to Mirari's sullen mood, Fuyu and I continue to talk about the landscape surrounding us and possible paths back to the girls' den. Unfortunately, our talk is for naught. With so much having changed in such a short period of time, my knowledge of the area is useless, and so is my map. For the time being, all we can do is sit tight. I mentioned this like yesterday in yesterday's video, but like, because some of I have on my left side, I have some busted teeth. It's a long story. And because of like the broken tooth, it like, it makes it so it obviously that tooth touches my tongue weird, and so it throws off, and so I often bite my tongue on that side. So it's like, as I'm doing lots of narration and stuff, like all the time for like obviously videos, increasingly I've been biting my tongue, which is the reason that sometimes I'll just be like, you know, and you'll just hear like that little noise. That's because that's me. I bit my tongue for like the whatever 30th time that, you know, that day. So, you know, that's why. Anyway, and yes, it does get old. Thank you for asking. Anyway, all right. As night rolls around, I decide that it's time to take a bath. Thankfully, while drinking water isn't exactly abundant out here, there's no shortage of water suitable for bathing. Grab some snow, wait for it to melt, filter it, you have a cold shower. All right, I'm going in for a bath. Don't do anything bad while I'm busy bathing. What are you accusing us of? Just go and clean yourself already, smelly human. Well, I can't say I didn't ask for that. Yeah, that's fair. Well, having grabbed a change of clothes and a towel, I head into the bathroom. I run the water for a few seconds in order to give it time to warm up. While it's doing that, I strip down and prepare to enter the bathtub. A warm bath in the middle of a frozen wasteland. As far as guilty pleasures go, this one is pretty hard to beat. I sink into the bathtub and let out a deep sigh as the water slowly covers more and more of my body. Once the water is up to my breasts, I turn the tap off and lay back. Come to think of it, I wonder if the wolf girls use baths like this. Mirari seems to know her way around a house, so it wouldn't surprise me if she did. Fuyu, on the other hand, I could totally see her licking herself clean in the middle of a living room. Oh, no, do not picture that. Don't picture either of those things. She's like, where are my thoughts right now? Those girls are guests in this house. I can't be thinking of them that way. My expression falls as I think about the girl's situation. While I'm willing to let them stay with me if it's just for a little while, I understand that I'm ultimately doing them no favors. If I kick them out now, they'll likely freeze to death and die of starvation. If I let them stay too long, they'll wind up getting used to life here and they'll become unable to rejoin their pack, which would be good for them. This is a surprisingly delicate matter. Squeak. Before I can sink too deeply into my own thoughts, an unexpected sound reaches my ears. As I turn to see what caused the disturbance, what I find is a sensor bar? Oh, look at that. Not a sensor bar. Well, I mean, technically, no? Probably not, right? You can't actually see anything. Like, probably not, right? I'm gonna say probably not a sensor bar, and yeah, probably not. I have to do one quick check really quick. Uno momento. Okay, we're back. No, I'm gonna choose not to censor that. It's just covering enough that we're not gonna get in trouble, I don't think. I mean, you know, probably. Anyway, I was double checking that the adult patch was on. I mean, and just making sure. I was just curious, okay? I'm not a freak, I'm just curious. I was double checking it. As far as I can tell, I mean, I glanced around and I know I downloaded it, and I just like, I don't know if there's anything else you have to do. And like, I mean, I didn't see any kind of anyone's like, you know, you have to make sure this and this thing happens. Like, not that I can tell. And so we'll just, I mean, like I said, this first arc, so to speak, is the blind one, right? We're just gonna go through whatever happens. And then if anything obviously super lewd happens, then I'm like, oh, cool, so it's working. And if, you know, I mean, down the road, well, I mean, I do know that there must be, because of different comments I've seen, I know that there's lewd stuff happens. Depending on how explicit it is, I'll know for sure that it's on or not later on. And so then after our first blind arc here, if it doesn't work, and I'll be like, okay, now I know it's not wrong because obviously that part, whatever, was censored or whatever, then we'll know. But then for after we, like, whatever, if there's different choices or different arcs or whatever, and absolute worst case, if there's no extra, like, playthrough needed because we get all the endings we want, or if there's not multiple or whatever happens, then I will make sure it's installed and I'll go back through for my own, for the lulz. Anyway, doesn't matter. Forget about it. Doesn't matter. Mirari? Mirari averts her gaze as she walks towards me, clad in nothing but a towel. Instinctively, I cover my breasts and turn away in a flurry. Even if we're both girls, it's still embarrassing to have my body be seen like this. However, as Mirari draws near, I find myself stealing glances at her. Mirari, what are you doing in here? If you want to take a bath, you could do so after I finish. I lean forward in order to cover up as Mirari continues to come closer. The moment I do, Mirari slips into the bathtub behind me, resting her soft body against my back. Oh! Mirari? I know this isn't much, but please. Mirari finally speaks. The next moment, she pulls her body back, and I can instead feel her delicate hands gently rubbing my back. I do not possess your strength, Scarlet, nor do I share Fuyu's wit or courage. I don't know this side of the mountain well. Even if I did want to go back home, I wouldn't be of much help. It seems like no matter what I do, I'm just a nuisance. As Mirari voices her frustration, she begins to rub harder. That's why, if there's anything I can do, please, don't hesitate to ask. Cooking, cleaning, washing your body for you. If it's something that's within my power, I'll do it. Mirari. My heart sinks as I contemplate Mirari's words. Even without knowing the full story behind Mirari's current situation, I'm aware just how powerless she feels. In the short time that she's been here, all I've heard from Mirari is how she appreciates what I've done for her, and how she doesn't want to leave. She really isn't making it easy for me to evict her. Mirari, I'm glad you feel that way, but you really don't need to go this far. Go this far? I don't understand. All I'm doing is washing your back. Is that strange? Fuyu and I wash one another all the time. Yeah, but you've known each other for a long time, and this kind of thing is... Mirari tilts her head with a smile on her face. It seems that bathing with a near stranger isn't as extreme for an act for this wolf girl as it is for me. Maybe bathing together is in some kind of half-wolf custom? Just because it isn't common for humans, that doesn't mean that there's something weird about it. Alright, do as you please. Yes, thanks, thanks, yes, I kept looking at the word thanks and it kept throwing me off. Yes, thank you very much. No, you don't really need to go as far as to thank me. Smiling from ear to ear, Mirari picks up a bar of soap, lathers her hands, and begins to rub my back once more. While she's rubbing my back with her bare hands, I occasionally feel something else slap against my back. Heavy but soft, the feeling only lasts for an instant, but it seems like every few seconds the sensation reappears once more. This is no good. She's trusting me here, and I'm getting turned on. I've got to get a grip and distract myself. So, Mirari, how's life with the rest of your pack? It's fine, I guess. Ignoring my question, Mirari proceeds to move to the front of my body before I can stop her. To the front of my body, there's a period there. Before I can stop her, the rough material of the sponge caresses over my breasts. What is it? I've never heard you cry out like that. Nothing? Painfully embarrassed at my high-pitched shriek, sorry. I look down as Mirari resumes washing my front. If this continues, you and Fuyu seem pretty close. She's like, I'm really trying not to freak out here. Have you been friends since childhood? In a way. Damn it, Mirari, I'm trying to strike up a conversation here. She's like, I'm really trying to distract myself. For whose sake do you think I'm asking these questions? Doing my best to suppress my growing desires, I pitch a few more topics, all of which Mirari shoots down. Thankfully, before long. Okay, that ought to do it. You're done? Uh-huh. Your back and shoulders are nice and clean. That's all that's left now is the front. Mirari points between my legs. Oh, right. Let me just... Wait, what? Do you want me to get up and move to your front, or would you like to turn around? And she's like, I don't feel like I'm overly comfortable either way. I don't think it's gonna help. I feel like it's really familiar, and I'm feeling like I'm catching feelings, and it's a lot right now. It's a lot. I'd like to know what the hell was going on. I quickly cover my crotch with my hands as Mirari starts to squirm around behind my back. What are you doing, Scarlet? I can't wash your front like this. You don't need to. Really, you've done enough already. I'll do the front myself, okay? Mirari shakes her head. That won't do. I said that I would wash you, did I not? I can't just stop halfway through. That's my... You shouldn't touch me there unless I'm what? I don't know how to respond. Mirari's innocence is just too much for me to bear. How could I possibly convey to this girl the magnitude of what she just proposed? Fine, I understand. Hang on. Oh, hang on a minute. Was that not? Oh, that was Mirari. That was not Scarlet being like, okay, go for it. That was Mirari being like, fine, I understand. I'll give up on trying to wash your front for now. I breathe a sigh of relief as Mirari takes pity on my poor soul. However, now that I'm done washing you, it's your turn to do me. Huh? I turn around to find Mirari exposing her bare back to me. It seems that it is time for me to return Mirari's favor by washing her back just as she washed mine. Okay, I can do this. I'm just washing her back, that's all. There's nothing sexual about this. Besides, I've seen Mirari's naked body before. This won't be any different than the time when I dressed her. I mean, she was dying, but whatever. I'll grab some soap, wash Mirari's back, and that'll be the end of it. Setting my plan into motion, I rub a bar of soap between my hands, put it back down, then place my hand on Mirari's shoulder. Kya! Sorry, No, it's okay, you're just doing what I asked you to. I apologize for scaring you. I was just surprised. Surprised. I place my hand on Mirari's shoulder once more. Mirari shakes slightly, but doesn't yelp or move away. Taking a deep breath, she tries her best to remain calm as I move my hands lower down her back. My hands tremble as I caress her back, and I continue to grow more conscious of the feeling being transmitted back to me. Yeah, she's like, I am so uncomfortable. Mirari's soft skin, which is far more delicate than my own, turns faintly white as my fingers press into her skin. Ah, that feels good. You can press a little harder. Don't worry, I'm tougher than I look. Encouraged, I press a bar of soap into her smooth skin until I've worked up a lather, then I begin to clean her with the sponge. I can't bring myself to look at Mirari while I do this. This is bad. If I keep going like this, I am not going to be able to justify this as a friendly female skinship. Looking away, I lean forward to clean her as fast as possible while trying to distract myself from my wandering mind. She's like, ugh. Sorry, am I pressing too hard after all? It's not that, it's... I can feel your chest on my back. Startled, I look down at my body. I've been trying to avoid looking at Mirari so much that I'd unknowingly been brushing my breasts against her. I quickly angle myself away. Sorry, just not used to doing this stuff. No, I wasn't saying it was bad. I don't mind. Pick whatever position works best, Scarlet. I suck in a gasp as Mirari places a gentle, reassuring hand on my leg. The sensation of her soft, unblemished skin, the smell of her already clean body, the sight of her bare skin. Okay, I think that ought to do it. She's just like, I've got to derail myself before I get out of control. Anyway, you're all clean now. Already? But you didn't even reach my butt yet. Don't tempt me, Mirari. I am already on the brink of losing it here. No, I think you should do that part yourself. Washing your back is one thing, but any lower than that is a bit... I blush as I avert my gaze. So, washing the lower half is no good? Exactly. In that case, Mirari begins to twist her body towards me. Will you wash my chest next? I try to look away as Mirari's bust comes into view. Even though I've seen her naked body before, the current situation is completely different than last time. Yeah, last time was literally life and death. Anyway, Mirari is neither cold nor shivering. She isn't a near-death mass quivering on my floor. She's a warm, flesh and blood being asking me earnestly to touch her body. I don't think that's a good idea either. Why not? Because I'm barely holding it together here. I can't keep having these desires while she thinks this is nothing more than female skinship. What's the harm in washing my breast too? This girl, I don't know if I want to hug her or push her down. Mustering my remaining self-control, I stand up, get out of the bathtub, and turn around. Sorry, but you'll have to do the rest yourself. If you need help, please call for Fuyu instead. Huh? Scarlet, wait. Hey. She's like, nope. She's like, I'm gonna jump you if I just like take even a second longer. She's like, this is not happening. I can't do this. She's like, I'm having an aneurysm like over here. Definitely not. You're way too wholesome and I'm way too not. Anyway. Whew, I feel much better now. It's been so long since I last enjoyed a hot bath. Oh, Princess, you're finally out. How was it? Do human baths compare favorably to ours? To be honest, it was pretty cramped in there. It seems like human bathtubs are only made for 1 or 2 people at a time. Seriously? That's so weird. How are you supposed to clean one another in a bathtub as cramped as that? Indeed, I wondered the same thing. Though I suppose it does make bathing more intimate. Even though it certainly was cramped, I can't say I didn't enjoy it myself. While Mirari happily recites her new experience, I slump down on the couch, completely and utterly exhausted. With my eyes closed and my body limp, I allow myself to sink into the couch as the tension begins to slip away. It may have been a relaxing bath for you, Mirari, but personally, I don't think I've ever felt more stressed after bathing. Yeah, that's true. It took all of my willpower just to refrain from doing something that would make me feel incredibly guilty later on. Honestly, I'm more tired now than when I entered the bath. So, are you going in next, Fuyu? I left the water in, just in case you wanted to take a bath yourself. Nah, I'm good. I just licked the important spots clean, no need for a full bath. As quickly as my consciousness has begun to slip, I suddenly open my eyes wide as I hear something which confirms my pre-bath prediction. You never changed, Fuyu. Okay, have it your way. I'll go get started on dinner while you two relax. Mirari heads into the kitchen, wasting no further time on relaxation. Having already cleaned up my back dutifully, it seems Mirari plans on moving straight on to her next self-assigned task. Geez, that girl's such a hard worker. You can say that again. Though right now you look far more tired than she does. Me? Fuyu nods. You're tired, right? You should take a nap before dinner. I mean, it does seem a little suspicious, I guess, but not like overly. I don't know, I mean, it wouldn't be bad. Scarlet is like real stressed after that. I mean, okay. Maybe you're right. I certainly could do with a bit of shut-eye. And I'm sure Mirari would wake me up once dinner's ready. Oh, what the hell. I might as well. I'm gonna go sleep for a bit. Don't let me sleep through dinner, okay? Of course. Rest well, human. With a smile on my face, I close my eyes once more and sink into the cushioning of the couch. Overcome by feelings of both comfort and exhaustion, I begin to fall asleep in a matter of seconds. And I wake up to getting choked to death. Anyway, Scarlet, wake up. Oh, you're awake. Sorry to disturb your slumber. Oh, don't worry about it. What's up, Mirari's dinner ready? Yes, almost, but before that, Oh, did she like fall asleep near me? What's happening? Look, she's adorable. I can't even take it. The moment I attempt to stand up, I realize what Mirari's staring at. It seems that at some point during my slumber, Fuyu started to snuggle up against my body, ultimately succumbing to the urge to nap. With her legs propped up on my lap, she has gradually fallen asleep and is now soundly sleeping next to me. Wow, Fuyu seems like a completely different person when she's asleep. So I imagine Scarlet's like whatever over here somewhere. You know what I mean? That's adorable. Anyway, I'm in two minds about whether I should actually wake her up or not. Looking down at the peaceful, content look on Fuyu's face, I feel a slight tug inside my chest. Contrary to the attitude she usually displays while she's awake, Fuyu currently looks like an innocent, adorable little puppy. What on earth did I put an end to that? Or how on earth could I put an end to that? Let her sleep a while longer. Dinner can be reheated anyway. It would be a shame to wake her unnecessarily. Yeah, I guess you're right. After all, Fuyu must be pretty tired if she's willing to sleep on my leg. Hearing my take on the matter, Mirari sleeps and smiles and shakes her head. I don't think that's the case at all. I understand how Fuyu's actions must seem to someone who doesn't know her well, but the truth is, Fuyu is far more insecure and needy than she lets on. Fuyu is just too afraid to let others know how she truly feels. Mirari takes a seat next to Fuyu on the floor while speaking tenderly. It's clear that from her tone of voice that she cares about Fuyu, and even if Fuyu won't say so directly, I'm sure she feels the same way about Mirari. Fuyu always puts up a tough front, but she's still a young woman. She's been pushing herself to a frightful degree these past few days. Were it not for moments like this, I think she would collapse under the weight of it all. Fuyu is trying so hard to make everything right. No matter what I say to her, all she can think about is bringing me back home and returning to our clan. Hearing Mirari take on Fuyu's actions, my impression of Fuyu begins to improve. I start to stroke the fierce young girl's head, treating her like a pet despite the displeasure she had already expressed to that end. Oh, so maybe Scarlet's over here. Maybe that's the whole bit. So Scarlet, maybe she's actually over here with... I'm assuming this pillow is on top of Scarlet's legs, I imagine? Anyway, which is even cuter, way cuter. Anyway, nonetheless, in her current state, Fuyu doesn't possess the presence of mind to reject my goodwill. Instead, her body moves on its own. Fuyu's head moves towards my hand as though begging me to continue petting her. She's like, that feels good. Lick. Still fast asleep, Fuyu licks my forearm as I continue to pet her. Seeing that, Mirari lets out a soft sigh. If only Fuyu was this honest when she was awake. If she was, then maybe the three of us truly could stay like this after all. Stay like this? You mean in my cabin? Rather than avert her gaze or retract her words, as she has up until now, Mirari looks down at Fuyu's sleeping face with a smile. After a few seconds of silence, Mirari opens her mouth once more, starting with an unexpected notion. You know, Scarlet, there was a time when our pack leader ordered us to kill Fuyu. Ordered us all to kill Fuyu. What? My eyes and mouth open wide at Mirari's revelation. Rather than address my surprise, however, Mirari simply continues to speak unabated. It's the job of a pack leader to make tough decisions on behalf of everyone. They must do what's best, even if others wind up hating them for it. The order to kill Fuyu was one such decision. It was during one of the hardest winters the pack had ever endured. They hadn't found a permanent dwelling like the one on the mountain yet either. He said that we couldn't take care of a runt like her. She would just drag the whole pack down with her and cause us many hardships further down the track. At the time, nobody wanted to agree with him, and yet we all knew that he was right. It was nothing personal. She simply had to die for the sake of the pack. I swallow my words several times as I try to think about how best to respond to Mirari's revelation. What could I possibly say in response to something so horrible yet apparently necessary? Rather than risk offending Mirari and her pack by saying something tactless, I decide to ask the obvious question. What happened after that? Fuyu's still alive, so surely something must have happened. Mirari nods. I was only a cub at the time, the same age as Fuyu, so I don't remember any of this myself. But according to my mother, Fuyu's parents rebelled against the leader, saying they couldn't possibly kill their only daughter. And the leader took pity on them? Mirari shakes her head. He exiled them both, along with Fuyu. He said that if they wanted to raise her, they were on their own, and they would receive no further help from the pack. It was a tough decision, both for Fuyu's parents and for the leader, but everyone agreed that was how it had to be. Mirari sighs as she thinks back on the decision her leader came to. Despite her personal feelings about Fuyu, it seems as though she bears no grudge regarding the leader's decision. Cold, heartless, yet always doing what was best for the pack. That's the kind of man our leader was. Not a kind, charismatic leader beloved by his followers, but a ruthless man of action. The kind nobody asked for, yet everybody understood why we needed him. Mirari speaks of the leader with a sad smile on her face. Seeing her mixed feelings come to the surface, a question pops up in my mind. Say, Mirari, given that Fuyu always calls you princess, am I right in thinking that the pack leader is... Mirari nods before I'd even finish speaking. Yes, that is correct. Our pack leader is, or at least our previous pack leader was, my father. Regarding my question before I even ask it, I press on. Was? What happened to him? Did he step down from the role? In a manner of speaking. My father died 3 years ago, protecting the pack from a bear. Since then, my mother has taken over leading the pack in his place. She's been doing a fine job, especially considering how half-wolves usually think of female leaders. But unfortunately, I don't think the current arrangement will last much longer. Tears appear in the corner of Mirari's eyes as she recounts her father's... Ow, I bit my tongue again! But that one hurt. Ow. Tears appear in the corners of Mirari's eyes as she recounts her father's courageous death, and the burden currently being placed on her mother. Despite Mirari's apparent desire to leave her pack, it's clear that she still thinks of them quite fondly. My mother, she is growing weary in her old age. She does not possess my father's strength, nor does she bear his unyielding will. It is only a matter of time before she's crushed, if not by the weight of her position, then by old age and sickness. When that time comes, the line of succession will lead to... Mirari opens her eyes wide as she suddenly realizes something. Hurriedly wiping her eyes and nose, she corrects her posture and attempts to clean up her appearance. I'm terribly sorry, Scarlet. We're talking about Fuyu, weren't we? My apologies. It was selfish of me to begin prattling on about my own circumstances and all that. Before I can disagree with her, Mirari goes back to talking about her dear friend Fuyu. When my father died, it was decided that we needed to increase the size of our pack to make up for his disappearance. Seeing that this is an opportunity to rejoin the pack, Fuyu's family came to us, their runt now stronger than ever, and expressed their desire to return to our side. Bearing no personal grudge for the circumstances which led to their departure, they agreed to my mother's condition for their return, that Fuyu's family would serve mine forevermore. Since that day, Fuyu and I have been together, whether we liked it or not. And of course, over time, the two of us have grown close. Fuyu has become like a sister to me, and I cherish her more than anything. Oh, dude, that was so sweet, though. Also, are you guys proud that, like, I try to put on a different voice for every person? Are you guys noticing that? I didn't totally mean to do it, to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Now, mostly, I do like that. My, back in the day when I was younger, my mom would read to my sisters and I. And she would put like a slightly different voice with like lots of with every character. And so when my mom, like for instance, my mom read Harry Potter to us back when it was much newer and I was much younger, when I was a little kid, and mom would read it to us, but I always knew like what character was different from who, because my mom would like to some degree change her voice so that it was very apparent, you know, who was talking, you know what I mean? And I don't know if she did that on purpose, like tried very hard, or if it was like it just sort of happened kind of thing or what. Now, mostly, of course, I do lots of visual novels on my channel, and so, and I've done a lot in the past, and I expect there to be a lot more, especially going forward. And in the past, I've wanted to try putting different characters to different voices, but I don't know how many I can do. So, you know, I don't know how many voices I can do, and if there's too many characters in any kind of novel, it's really hard to come up with a new voice and remember how you did it for each character, you know what I mean? And so it's like really difficult, but this one, there's only 3 characters, and so it's much more simple. With like Scarlet, I just try and talk normal. With Fuyu, I try to be a little more aggressive, or like a little bit, and obviously with Mirari, I try on purpose to make it very soft, you know what I mean? Anyway, and I if you can tell, I'm happy because I am trying. So it's weird. I've never done anything like that before, but you know, it's just takes getting used to, and if I can, I mean, I'll continue to try and do it, especially for other novels going forward, but often it's impossible because there's so many characters. Like, how could I possibly do that for every character, you know? Anywho. Especially considering I play novels with lots of females in it, primarily if you play as a female, and so obviously that's even harder, because like, even guy voices would be easier to do different kinds, but like a girl voice, like there's like, what, 2, 3, like max that I could do, that would be like different from each other, so it's like, that'd be really difficult. Anyway. Exhausted from talking for so long, Mirari takes a well-deserved break and leans back into the couch. Between making dinner, talking without pause, and recalling memories best left forgotten, Mirari has quickly depleted what energy she had left. I figure Mirari had her reasons for not wanting to tell me about her situation, but it looks like once she got started, she just couldn't stop. Who knows how long she's been holding all that in, wanting to get it off her chest. I may not know, about half-wolves, but I get the feeling that from her story that they aren't exactly the touchy-feely type. What's all this racket about? Yawn. Awakened by Mirari's story, Fuyu raises her head and begins to rub her eyes sleepily. Oh, morning, princess. Good morning, Fuyu. Evening? That's right, I'm not the first one you should be greeting. Huh? Fuyu raises her eyebrows as Mirari giggles. Rather than wait for Fuyu to notice me, I place my hand on her shoulder. Are you awake now, Fuyu? Wah! Fuyu tries to jump back in surprise. However, since she's still sitting in my lap, her action serves only to bring the two of us much closer together. But why is the human... Fuyu's face, I don't know why I couldn't say like space, I don't know what that was. Fuyu's face turns bright red in an instant as she realizes where she is and what she's doing. Sitting on my lap, looking up at my face from so close that we could be kissing, words continue to fail her. Absolutely, hang on a minute. Absolutely, dude. So easy. Best decision ever. You fell asleep while we were snuggling. Don't you remember, Fuyu? We were snuggling on the couch right up until the moment where you fell asleep. Snuggling? No, I would never. You must have moved my body while I was sleeping. I did no such thing. In fact, I tried to separate from you, but you wouldn't let me at all. Liar! There's no way I would do something so shameless. This is definitely all you're doing. Actually, Scarlet was quite careful not to wake you. They haven't moved at all since you two started waiting for dinner together. Dinner? At the mention of that magical word, Fuyu begins to sniff the air. Oh, right. Of course, that's what it is. I was just hungry and tired, and your lap was warm, so I naturally fell asleep on it. Silly me, thinking that's what happened. Why else would I be napping in a place like this? If that wasn't the case, I'd never be caught sleeping on your smelly lap. You don't need to be so defensive, Fuyu. I'm not getting defensive. I just don't want you to misunderstand, that's all. Fuyu finally removes herself from my lap and runs over to the kitchen, lured in by the smell of food. Even after she reaches the food, Fuyu steals a few glances in my direction, then quickly reverts her gaze when I catch her. That's so cute, dude. That's so adorable. I love them both so much. I guess that's my cue. I'll bring dinner over in a moment. Just sit tight, Scarlet. That's so cute, dude. I love her. I love them both. Anyway, having filled our bellies, Mirari, Fuyu, and I sit down on the couch once again as we ponder what to do with ourselves. After napping earlier in the day, Fuyu and I are still full of energy. Mirari, on the other hand, seems like she'll fall asleep at any moment, and she's hanging on by sheer force of will. She's like, oh, so sleepy. Really, I'm fine. I'll go to bed when you do. That would sound more convincing without the yawn at the start. Go to bed, Mirari. You aren't gonna miss anything. But I don't feel tired. You're a terrible liar. Fine, stay up for all I care. I was just gonna watch some old VHS tapes anyway. VHS? What is that? I've never heard of it before. Yeah, most people under 20 haven't. Yeah, oh, so true, dude. So true. Where's the lie? It's a way for humans to watch movies and TV shows whenever they want. It's a bit dated now, but they still work as long as they have the right, as you have the right equipment. Yeah, I mean, it's still a working technology. It's rare. I mean, I don't know anyone, or even seen anyone in the last, I don't know, 10 years at least, that actually has used VHS tapes, like, unironically. But hey, it was a solid method in its day, man. I, like, grew up watching VHSs up until I was, you know, what, a teenager? Maybe? Anyway. It's a bit, I mean, a young teenager, you know, very young teenager. Anyway, it's a bit dated now, but they still work as long as you have the right equipment. Movies and TV? Fuyu, do you understand what Scarlet's talking about? I think I've heard of TV. That's the magic box with moving pictures, isn't it? You're not wrong, but do you girls seriously not know what television is? How could you be familiar with canned food and running water, but not television? Even if you asked that. Well, what does television do? Well, what does television do that's so special? Running water and canned food provide us with sustenance. Why do we need television? You actually do have a point there. Television has a couple of uses, but it's mostly for entertainment. I pull out a box filled with VHS tapes and place it in front of the two wolf girls. Inside of the box are dozens of tapes, still in their original cases, cover art and all. These are VHS? That's right. Pick one you like, the look of, and we'll see what's on it. Okay. Mirari and Fuyu start looking through the box of old tapes. After searching for a few seconds, they each pull out a single tape. Let's see what we've got there. A documentary about animals of the grasslands? Yes, I'm quite curious to see how those in other climates thrive. I suppose you would be if you lived in the snow your entire life. What about you, Fuyu? I'm not sure I want to watch it, but the cover did catch my eye. That's okay. Show me what you've... I almost gag on my own saliva as I gaze upon the tape in Fuyu's hand. On the cover is a young blonde woman with a large chest dressed in nothing but a revealing swimsuit. Unlike the Grasslands documentary, which is still in the original plastic sleeve, this video has been viewed so many times that the tape is beginning to wear out. Oh, what manner of VHS is that? Are we going to view that? Are we going to view that next? No, I mean, that one would bore the two of you to death. It's not the kind of thing you'd be interested in. Really? I did get the feeling I wouldn't like it. So it's a boring one after all, huh? Oh yeah, quite boring. I'll just put it back in the box way at the bottom so we don't wind up picking it out again. Huh. I breathe out a sigh of relief as the two wolf girls allow my slip up to pass without a fight. Looks like I'll need to be more careful with that stuff as long as these two are here. Obviously that's Scarlett's. You can tell what she's into. I've been able to do things at my own pace until now, but I can't be so careless when guests are over. Yeah, you know. What are you gonna do? Okay, hang on. I have to go use the restroom really quick. I will be right back, and we will get back to it. And while I'm gone, I'm gonna look up how long this game is, so I have a estimate on episodes, which I should have done before I recorded it, but whatever. All right, we're back. Can I just tell you how cool it is that I don't have to resync like every hour for PC stuff? Can I just tell you how cool that is? Like I could just hop back in, just get back to it. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, so I did look up the approximate length of this game. According to How Long to Beat, the main story supposedly is 3 hours, in like quotations. Supposedly. So we might be on track approximately for the main story for like one video, like more or less. But the thing is it said main story plus extras. It said 5 hours. So my only thought is like if there's more than one route, maybe to do the other route or something, or if there's different endings or something, to see that other stuff might take you some more time. And then it said completionist. It said 8 hours. So either way, this shouldn't be very long. And like I said, this first one is blind. After this, I'll look up the different endings and I'll see what else I want to do and see what gets added and things like that. But either way, this will not be a very long series, which I didn't very much expect. Like, If My Heart Had Wings did seem like much more of a exception rather than the rule. A lot of the visual novels that I have been buying they're very cheap, even on sale. Even when not on sale, they're very cheap. And so I imagine that they're fairly short, is what I very much expect. Now, this one's very well made. The art is very, very pretty, and the English translation is perfect. And so, I assuming, of course, it wasn't made in English anyway, from the beginning, which I don't know, because that's how good it is. I can't tell. But there's sometimes some things that are said which sounds to me like a translation in the way it's phrased. Not that it's wrong, it's just it's not a native English speaker's way of phrasing things. Anywho, and so either way, this probably won't be a very long playthrough. You know what I mean? Which I'm having a great time and I'm invested. So it's like I don't care how long or short it is, right? If I'm having fun, that's all that matters. Anywho. Rather than dwell on Fuyu's discovery, I hurriedly cram Mirari's choice into the VHS player. After skipping through the ads, anti-piracy warnings, and other outdated product placements, I start the movie where the film crew are just beginning to set up. The first few minutes of the film explain how the crew are looking for specific animals during today's outing and how they plan to observe each one. Couple fun little side tangents here. First one is I really love documentaries, so this is the type of thing I would just watch anyway, just for fun, just cause I just really like documentaries. I always have, of all kinds. I love learning about animals. I love learning about like different like cultures, especially like warrior stuff, army stuff, soldier stuff. I mean, lots of documentaries all over about lots of things, but really just most anything, even like just a space documentary. I mean, like all kinds of random stuff. I'm all about it. But animals are a big one for me too, so I would watch this just cause. Also, like for those of us that remember what VHS tapes were and used them at some point in our lives, can you imagine like? Doesn't it sound weird to anyone else, the concept of rewinding a tape? Like, that was so normal, obviously, when for cassette tapes and VHS tapes, you had to rewind them. Like, and there would be like there would be like blockbusters, and they would like it was a thing in the policies. They wanted you to rewind the tape so that they didn't have to. And so now my family always did, but like I don't know. It's just like it's so weird. Can you imagine? That seems so foreign now the concept of putting a tape in and then having it start at like the credits, because whoever watched it last didn't rewind it. That just seems so crazy. Like, and I remember having that be all very normal. That was the system. That's what was in. That's what everyone was doing. But like, it seems crazy now to look back and to think of like listening to a cassette tape and having to rewind it or flip to side B or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff seems so foreign now. Anyway, it just hit me about how crazy, about how life changes, how crazy that is. Anywho, we already read that. Whether they succeed or not is yet to be seen. All they promise is to not hurt the animals and to view them from afar. Oh, look at that! The water is flowing in a perfectly straight line without any chunks of ice floating in it at all. And the grass, it's everywhere. There isn't a single patch of snow to be seen. You're right, Princess. This is truly fascinating. With ready access to unfrozen water, do the animals living in those parts drink their fill and bathe whenever they feel the urge? I imagine they must. Why else would they? Oh, look, Fuyu, look, the rabbit is drinking from the river. I see it, Princess. But where has all of its fur gone? It'll never survive the winter like that. You're the last person who should be asking that. I smile wryly as the two girls excitedly point towards the television. Even Fuyu, who generally attempts to feign disinterest in such things, is clearly enjoying herself. So far, movie night is a resounding success. Where did all the animals go? Why are they only showing humans now? Looks like they're taking a break and discussing how they're gonna track down the next animal. Boring. I agree, actually. I don't. I find this fascinating. The humans are all huddled together to hold a strategy meeting, just like we would. I think the people you're watching might claim that you have it backwards. Oh, look, a human city. Yuck, they're even farther away from the grasslands now. They're going back to the studio to talk with some expert. My, that building is enormous. Are most human buildings as big as that? Oh, and the number of people. I've never seen so many human beings before now. How nice it must be to live there. With one eye still glued to the television, Mirari starts to pull on my trousers. Save. Keep watching, talk to her about the city. I mean, I guess you could talk. I mean, well, she did ask. She's like, are all human buildings as big as that, right? So I guess if she asked, so. The city's convenient, but it's not that great to actually live there. Scarlet, you grew up in a city like that? Yeah, kinda. Maybe not quite as busy as that one, though. What was it like? Tell me. Hey, Princess, look, they've gone back to the grassy area now. There are cute animals and everything. Fuyu tries unsuccessfully to grab Mirari's attention. Now that the video's moved away from human civilization, Mirari's focus is solely on yours truly. And he's like, fine. Fuyu? In a huff, Fuyu mimics my actions from earlier and clumsily mashes the remote control until she succeeds in turning the television off. Fuyu, what's wrong? Nothing, humph! Fuyu pouts as Mirari finally glances towards her. Sensing what's going on, I decide to put Fuyu out of her misery. I suppose it is getting rather late. We can continue watching the video some other time. For now, let's all go to bed. He's like, aw, but I want to talk about human civilization. Oh, good idea. Good idea, human. Or rather, that's exactly what I was thinking. Come here, Princess. Let us go to sleep. I think, okay then, if you insist. Good night, Scarlet. Good night, Mirari, Fuyu. Good night. Without further complaint, Mirari curls up on the couch alongside Fuyu. Fuyu soon joins her and snuggles up close as if making for their dissonance moments ago, like their distance between each other, you know. Content to leave the duo just like that, I retreat to my bedroom and head to bed myself. I imagine it's because Fuyu was probably very like happy that her and Mirari were on the same page and like really interested in stuff, whereas Mirari was very interested in human civilization, and obviously Fuyu was very not, and so I think that was what that whole thing was about. Anyway, having napped for a while yesterday evening, I woke up earlier than usual this morning. Long before my largely unnecessary alarm clock can wake me up, I rise from my bed and begin to stretch. Unfortunately, even though I've awoken early, there's no reason for me to be awake at such a time. It isn't yet warm enough to work, and there's no time-sensitive activities in my list of things to do. All I've done is deny myself a sleep in. I guess I'll go check on the girls. Maybe they have done something they want to do. They have something they want to do this morning? I walk into the living room, half expecting to see Mirari cooking, and Fuyu sitting on the floor behind her impatiently. I imagine that they're probably both asleep because she woke up so early. Surprisingly, however... Aw, dude, they're so cute! So cute. Oh, also, hey, achievement. Still sleeping. The two wolf girls have yet to awaken. Huh, looks like I'm the first one up. I guess they're too comfortable to move at the way they are now. Watching over the two for a moment, a smile naturally begins to creep onto my face. Mirari and Fuyu snuggle together, sharing one another's body's warmth, resting on the other's fur, and generally finding pleasure in being with the other. My brain was like, what's this word? Help. Anyway, if not for the cuteness of their action, I'd probably be jealous. What am I thinking? There's nothing to be jealous of. In fact, I should be thinking of ways to get rid of them even one day sooner. It's for their sake and mine that we go our separate ways as soon as possible. Absolutely not, Scarlet. Don't be dumb. Absolutely not. Everyone knows that humans and half-humans aren't supposed to get involved with one another. God knows why. We're too different. Having to try to integrate into the society of the other will only result in pain for both sides. Not necessarily. Over the years, many cautionary tales have been told regarding humans and half-humans getting along. Humans feeding starving half-humans only to then become their dessert. Half-humans seeking refuge in human homes and then ultimately slaughtering the families within and stealing their shelter. There have even been cases of mass killings on both sides, starting with nothing more than subtle differences in their ways of life. In hindsight, I've taken on a pretty substantial risk by taking a half-wolf, a member of one of the most aggressive and bestial races, into my home. That being said, looking at these two right now, it's pretty hard to imagine either one of them turning on me. Hell, Mirari acts more human than most of the people I've ever known, and she certainly knows her way around the kitchen better than I do. Speaking of which, prying myself away from the adorable sight, I walk into the storeroom in search of something easy to cook for breakfast. When I start to prod around in the storeroom, however, I quickly realize something important. Oh man, where'd all the food go? I thought I had enough to last until summer. You did when it was just one of you. I know those two eat a lot more than I do, but I shouldn't have gone through that much food already. Perplexed, I scratched my head. It's possible that Mirari may have moved the rest of the supplies that she was when she cleaned up, but without knowing where she moved them to, that thought does me little good. I guess I'll go make a trip into town after all. I was hoping to put this off until summer, but in a way, this might be for the best. A more up-to-date map might be useful, and after all, and I do need to gather information about the recent changes to the terrain. Off to town I go then. I would have like left them a note or something. Hopefully she does. Without delaying any further, I grab my keys and head to the side of the house. I then jump into my truck, turn the key, and start to rev up the engine. Oh, come on, you stupid thing. It hasn't been that long since I last drove you. I continue to rev the engine in an attempt to warm the truck up. Unfortunately, my efforts seem to result in nothing but an increased level of noise. Come on, you good for nothing. Grr. Huh? Oh, she's all barking at it. They're all whining. It's just like, guys, stay away from the princess, you. The hell? I turn to look towards the house, only to find that I've awoken my guests. Rather than address me personally, however, the two girls seem to be fixated on my truck. Oh, you look, it has Scarlet. It does too. Give her back, beast. I will cut you open with my claws if I have to. Be careful, Fuyu. We don't know what it's capable of. Don't worry, princess. I've got this. Fuyu slowly approaches. Her hair is standing on end, her claws are ready by her sides, and her teeth are bared. I'll help too. We're coming for you, Scarlet. Right behind her, Mirari steps forward warily. Armed with a frying pan from the kitchen, Mirari looks like a frightened housewife rather than a wolf. Nonetheless, she comes forth bravely, ready to fight my truck for the sake of freeing the person trapped within. Girls, please stop that. I'm sorry I scared you, but I'm fine, really. And Fuyu, you've seen my truck before, remember? Like, grr, I can still hear the human speak from within its belly. Scarlet must still be okay. Yeah, but not for long. We need to get her out of there before the beast finishes digesting her. How do we do that? Do you know how to fight this thing? No, but I'd wager that's no different than any other beast. Tear its out its throat with your teeth, and it'll die. Tear its... I couldn't possibly. Don't worry, princess, I'll do it. No, don't you do it either. Just go back to the cabin, alright? Okay? This hunk of junk is nothing for you to get so worked up about. Fuyu? Don't listen to it, princess. The beast is mimicking Scarlet's voice so that we'll let our guard down. As soon as as we turn our backs, it'll pounce. Eep! Oh, for the love of... It's like, oh my god. Before Fuyu could scratch the paint on my truck, I turn the engine off and hop out. Look, I'm telling you, I'm fine. Whoa! Scarlet! Oh, thank goodness you're alright. I was so scared. I heard a ferocious rumbling the moment I woke up, and when I came out to see what it was, the beast had already eaten you whole. I thought we were too late, and that you... I exhaled deeply and placed my hand on Mirari's head. There, it's alright. This is nothing to be worried about. But Scarlet, sniff. Grr. It's like, ha, prod. Is it truly dead? With Mirari carrying behind me, I watch on in amazement as Fuyu continues to cautiously poke my truck with her claws. He's like, Fuyu, you don't need to do that. It's a machine. It's like a kettle or a television. It isn't gonna hurt you. Like I believe that. This creature has already devoured you whole once. If it isn't dead, then what is it? Then what's to stop it from doing so again? I scratch my head confused, and as I try to think of a way to explain to Fuyu how vehicles work. Given a reaction to the noise and commotion it has generated so far, however, that may be easier said than done. Oh, forget it. You know what? I tamed it. I tamed the beast. It's under my control now. It won't harm anyone ever again. Oh, I see. Amazing, as expected of Scarlet. They won't accept that it's a machine, but they bought that explanation right away. Good grief. Already far more exhausted than I should be, given the time of day, I sigh once more and walk the girls back inside. She's like, oh my god, she's like, it's a machine, guys. Alright, girls, I'm back. I have enough canned food to last for 3 winters, even taking into account Fuyu's appetite. I also bought a new map and some rechargeable batteries for the radio. Who wants to help me unload the truck? Preferably without attacking it. Girls? I enter the cabin, surprised to find it both quiet and empty. As I walk through the cabin, I soon hear the sound of someone talking, though I can't make out yet what they're saying. Girls? That's why I'm telling you, we need to go now. What do you think is gonna happen if we keep wasting our time here? Do you think your mother's gonna live forever, and she's gonna keep on doing your duty for you? I know it isn't fair to my mother. I know I should return, if only for her sake, but what? You'd rather hang out here playing housewife to some human? What's wrong with that? I like it here, okay? I enjoy human culture far more than our own. There's no hunting or sacrificing the weak, no fighting over food or warmth or constant power struggles. Then why shouldn't I like it here? Why does our pack have to offer that's so special? It isn't about the pack that can offer you, it's about what you can offer the pack. Our kin expect you to lead them, just as your father did before you, and your mother is doing right now. Are you gonna let them all down because of your own selfishness? Why shouldn't I? I'm sick and tired of being everyone's princess and being held on some kind of pedestal because of who my father was. I don't want to be a leader. Just because everyone keeps saying I'll be the next pack leader, that doesn't make it true. All I want to do is live out my days in peace, like a human. Slap. Oh shit, dude, they're actually fighting. The sound of chatter dies down in an instant. All that can be heard throughout the cabin is the echo of Fuyu's palm striking Mirari's cheek. Oh no. Unsure of whether I should step in or not, I remain frozen on the spot, watching silently to see who will make the first move. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for letting you all down like this, but my mind is made up. I will not return to the pack. Fine, have it your way, princess. We will be better off without a selfish human sympathizer like you leading us anyway. Oh no, dude, no, Fuyu! I love you, come back! Fuyu pushes past Mirari and heads for the door. Without saying another word, Mirari rubs her cheek, quietly fighting back tears as she tries to remain strong. Oh no. Oh, fuck me, dude. Shit! I hate when it does things like this. Now, I have to choose between them? Do I have to? Alright, that's it. I'm good looking it up. I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, we're back. So, I looked it up. I couldn't resist, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, so I have learned that there are 2 routes in this game, not counting there are 2 bad end routes. Of course, as always, I don't give a shit about the bad end routes, and we will not be seeing them. The 2 good routes is you either have Mirari or Fuyu, and that's it. Problem solved. Yeah, so you either have Mirari or you have Fuyu, and so you do have to choose. Now, this is actually the first point in the game where things actually matter. Every other choice before this is just is fluff. It's what you want to say. And so I do feel okay with everything that, with everything we've said, because this is the first choice that things actually matter. So yeah, this is the first choice where things actually matter. It doesn't weird me out a little bit that it's completely silent, but I'm sure the music will come back after I click on something. So this is the first choice that things actually matter. After this, there's a slew of choices. I don't think any of those, again, those ones are just, it's at your discretion. And then your other option is there's one other choice down the road where it's either a decision which will lead you to good things, or one more decision which will lead you to the second bad end route. This one is just choosing which girl you basically want to go after. And so I like Fuyu more in general, but maybe for the first one, maybe we'll go after Mirari, maybe, and then in the second, and then we'll skip through, and then we'll go to the second one, and then kind of target Fuyu. Because Fuyu, Fuyu is my favorite of the two, and so I think maybe we'll go for Mirari first, and then maybe we'll even include this all in this episode if it doesn't take long to just because if we're just gonna skip through to get to the other stuff, then maybe we'll do something like that. So we're gonna go after Mirari for this first one. So comfort Mirari. Once Fuyu has left the cabin, I made my presence known. I walked straight over to Mirari and knelt down in front of her, bringing my face to her level as she sits on the couch and quietly sobs. Scarlet, how long were you? Long enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop. No, it's nothing you need to apologize for. This is your home. You have a right to hear any conversations that take place within its walls. Mirari straightens her back and looks at me as she talks, but soon begins to slouch forward. Even if my presence is a welcome distraction, it isn't enough to make her forget about her worries. So, that fight you and Fuyu just had... It was not a fight. Mirari speaks forcefully as she shakes her head. We were simply reaffirming one another's positions. That conversation was long overdue. I see. Do your conversations normally end with Fuyu hitting you? Mirari immediately opens her mouth to deny my claim, but instead finds herself without words. Whether she cares to admit it or not, Mirari's conversation with Fuyu didn't end well. So you saw that. I could have heard it from outside. Why didn't you defend yourself? Having a difference of opinion is one thing, but getting physical is a bit much, even for Fuyu. No, you're wrong. Even if Fuyu had left lacerations all across my face, it still wouldn't be anywhere near enough to punish me for what I've done. You mean for running away from your home? If so, then I still think this is all rather extreme. Even if Fuyu's mad about you leaving her behind, that's no reason to get physical. Besides, you shouldn't have to go along with what everyone else expects you to do just because you don't want to let them down. Nobody gets to tell you how to live. You have to make your own life decisions, even if other people don't agree with them. And boy, will they disagree with you. My ears are still ringing from the chiding I got when I announced that I'd be moving out here. Thank you for your kind words, Scarlet, but I'm afraid my situation isn't so simple. Of all the people affected by my decision, Fuyu is the one person to whom I'll never be able to speak about this matter on equal ground. Mirari lets out a soft sigh, then looks up at my face. Do you remember how I told you that Fuyu, being a runt, and her family going to great lengths in order to rejoin the pack after raising her all on her own? The way I see it, Fuyu's family has already gone through so much because of my parents. They were forced to choose between the pack and their only daughter. They were exiled, and then they were made servile upon their return. Despite being treated so poorly, Fuyu's family have abided by the laws of the pack every step of the way. They work harder than any other members of the pack. They're willing to do anything to ensure its survival, and not once have they spoken ill of my parents. And yet, Mirari casts her gaze downward once more as she begins to grasp at the hem of her dress. Those people who were once exiled have done everything in their power to make our pack what it is today. On the other hand, I, the daughter of the current and previous pack leaders, want nothing more than to leave it all behind. Everything they've been through, everything they've endured, it was all for nothing. It was all for something I now want to discard. When I think about it like that, I can't even begin to imagine how Fuyu must feel. For someone like me who has been handed everything in life, to willingly throw away everything that she and her family have worked so hard to protect. If I were in Fuyu's place, a mere slap wouldn't even begin to convey my ire. Mirari fights back tears as she begins to tremble. Despite her resolution to leave the pack, she understands all too well what her departure will mean for those left behind. She feels guilty for putting her own happiness first. I mean, considering we're already obviously, you know, not going for this last part blind here, I might as well just stick with the all the shizzle. Okay. I understand that feeling. I see. It's a difficult position to be in, but believe it or not, I understand your feelings better than you think. My feelings? No, but Fuyu is the one... Mirari stops mid-sentence as I suddenly sit beside her and place my hand over hers. Mirari, you're a good friend for thinking about Fuyu's feelings to this degree. There are plenty of people in this world who would have just left their friends and family behind without giving it a second thought. In that regard, you've already done right by Fuyu. But you know, even if you were worried about how Fuyu feels, you can't let her happiness trample all over your own. Nothing good will come from you forcing yourself to take over for your parents. You won't be happy, the pack won't be happy, and Fuyu definitely won't be happy. Right now, you're probably thinking about caving into their demands would be the easiest way to make everything turn out okay. You're thinking that if you just gave up on your own dreams and stopped being selfish, that everybody would be happy. But you know, reality is never that kind. Mirari is silent for a moment, then looks up. You know, when I see you, Scarlet, a woman living all on her own, I thought about how I could also do that. My situation is really uncommon, honestly, even for a woman. But still it is so. Or maybe she said especially for a woman. Actually, that's probably what she said. Anyway, but still it is so. You're able to live out here and fend for yourself. That must take a remarkable amount of courage. You, Fuyu, my mother, you're also steadfast and resolute. So why can't I be? Why can't I stop being weak? Mirari, it was different than when it was just my mother and Fuyu who I was comparing myself to. But now with you, now I know I have no excuse. This is just how I am. I was simply born weak. No, I can't have her thinking this way, especially when I'm not as strong as she thinks. Mirari, do you know why I live out here? All alone in the middle of nowhere, far away from the nearest human settlement? If I recall correctly, you said previously that it's because you don't get along well with others. That's the short version of it, yeah, but the truth is, it's a bit more complicated than that. See, before I moved out here, I was in a position similar to yours. Not as far as being a princess and becoming a pack leader are concerned, but in terms of my parents' deaths and legacy. My parents always wanted me to take over the family business. As their only child, they just naturally assumed that I would follow in their footsteps. They trained me up, they made me work for them part-time throughout high school and college. They tried to micromanage every aspect of my life. I've made it well into my teens without a single shred of enjoyment or free time I have to myself. My life was lived all according to their whims. But when the time came for me to take over as directed in their will, I finally realized something. What they wanted me to do didn't matter, and they couldn't make me do their bidding anymore. My parents are dead. Anything I do or don't do doesn't matter to them in the slightest. The only person whose life my decisions will shape is my own, and if I'm gonna live my life, I'm doing it my way. Coming to that conclusion, I sold the family business despite the protests of my relatives and got the hell out of there as quickly as I could. I moved out here, away from everyone and everything, and despite the hardships of living out here, I can honestly say that I have never been happier. For the first time in my life, I'm free. My decisions are my own, my schedule is my own, and there's nobody around to tell me what I can and can't do. I take a deep breath as I finally finish talking. Talking about myself at length has tired me out, but going by the smile on Mirari's lips, it seems to have had the desired effect. That's an amazing story, Scarlet. I don't quite understand everything you said, but from what I gather, our situations are actually quite similar. And while it may be insensitive of me to say this, in light of your family situation, I'm glad to hear that we are alike. Mirari leans on my shoulder, resting more and more of her body weight on me as she continues to settle down. Rather than respond to my story verbally, to bring her talk with Fuyu once more, Mirari seems content to simply sit beside me, resting on my arm. And for the time being, I'm happy to do the same. I realize that her problems won't vanish after a single talk. Her relationship with Fuyu won't magically become less complicated, and the matter of leading their pack isn't going to resolve itself. But for now, as long as it's just the two of us sitting here side by side, those feelings all seem like problems for another day. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Once Fuyu had returned to the cabin, it takes no time at all for the two wolf girls to make up. With Mirari taking the lead, both girls are soon in tears, apologizing to one another and wishing to make amends. I watch in relief, glad to see the dear friends on good terms once more. Maybe the fight wasn't as bad as it sounded. Either that, or this isn't the first time they've had that particular fight. Whatever the case, I'm glad those two are getting along again. Scarlet, I look down at as Mirari leaves Fuyu's side and suddenly addresses me. Yes, Mirari? I just wanted to thank you one more time. Thank me for what? I didn't do anything. You two made up all on your own. Mirari shakes her head. Not that, or perhaps I should say not just that. Scarlet, you've done so much for us, all without asking for a thing in return. That got me thinking. Maybe there's something we can do for you after all? Oh, okay then. I thought cooking and cleaning already counted as a pretty nice thank you, but what do you have in mind? Mirari and Fuyu look at one another, then nod in agreement. You'll see soon enough. Grab a thick coat. We'd hate to have you freeze to death on the way over. Gasp. Dang, look at this forest. Dressed in a thick coat, I follow the girls outside and head down the path they previously attempted to take home. From the moment we leave the cabin, Mirari is smiling from ear to ear. Oh, sorry. Even Fuyu can't completely contain her excitement. Wherever we're going, it must be somewhere pretty special. Oh, how much further? It isn't far now, Scarlet. Just hang in there a little while longer. Yeah, don't collapse on us now. What kind of independent woman are you? One who's already spent enough time outside today. If you have the energy to retort, you should be fine. Don't worry about it. It really is a short walk from here. Any second now, we'll be able to... Ah, there it is. Mirari jumps up and down on the spot while pointing towards the mountain. I strain my eyes to see what she's so excited about, but all I can see is a hole on the side of the mountain. What is it, a cave? Not just any cave. Yes, it is what can be found inside of the cave that matters. Inside of the cave, huh? You'd better not be leading me into a bear's den or something. Of course not. Don't be silly, Scarlet. Yeah, the bears are all hibernating this time of year anyway. Yeah, so even if we wanted to get rid of you, luring you into a bear's den would be a poor way to do it. It worries me that you seem to have given this some thought. That's fair. Ooh, it's so pretty. Despite my apprehension, I follow the wolf girls to the mouth of the cave. After spending a short time walking through the cave, the temperature begins to rise to the point where I feel comfortable taking my coat off. Finally, as we near the cave's innermost point, I understand what it is the girls wanted to show me. Well, that's gonna need a censor. that's gonna need a censor. Like the achievement, don't start howling. It's like, what? It feels so good. In the depths of the cave, we find, of all things, a natural hot spring. Doubting my own eyes, I stand in front of the hot spring, mouth agape, while the girls cast aside their clothing and jump in without hesitation. A hot spring here? Man, like, they both are so cute, though. You guys can't see shit, but hey, it's great for me. How does that work? Is this a dormant volcano or something? Who cares? The water feels great. You can say that again. Come in and join us, Scarlet. No, I think I'll stay out here. Huh? Why? Well, I mean, the water's probably filled with bacteria, not to mention all sorts of sharp rocks at the base of it. I think I'll be safer out here. Oh, come on, don't be like that. We brought you here to thank you, Scarlet. We can't do that if you don't get in. Oh, believe me, this is already thanks enough. I avert my gaze as I try to distract myself from the sublime figures of the two naked wolf girls in front of me. Seeing my reaction, Mirari pouts and swims closer. What? Hey, what do you think you're doing? Isn't it obvious? If you won't get in on your own, then I'll just have to pull you in. If you pull me in right now, my clothes are gonna get soaked and I will freeze to death on the way home. Then take them off and jump in yourself. Fuyu snickers as Mirari shows a surprisingly forceful side of her personality. It seems that she doesn't like the idea of her kindness being refused. So, hurry up. Feeling the effects of peer pressure, I begin to strip the rest of my clothing off. Finally, I'm down to my panties, which I wordlessly strip away, all the while strategically hiding myself in modesty. Hiding my sensitive bits with my hands, I nervously stand in front of the two curious wolf girls. We're just bathing, stop being such a prude. So I'm the weird one for having shame, am I? Whatever, don't say I didn't warn you. Moving closer to the water, I realize I can't get in the water without completely exposing myself. I'll have to use my hands on the edge of the rocks. I decide that getting in from the back-facing view will be more modest. As soon as I turn around, it's like, oh, she's so strange looking. What? Don't say that about a girl's body. I'm talking about your butt, idiot. It looks so weird that you don't have a tail. It's just sticking out. I could totally see all of your butt. Embarrassed and angry, I quickly sink into the hot water. It's funny too, because she was already so nervous about it, but like obviously Fuyu doesn't mean it like that, obviously. It's just she's talking about the lack of tail. Like, for them, it's not weird at all. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, for obviously Scarlet, she's like, not normal, not normal. Like, and obviously, Scarlet is very much into women. And so, obviously, for her, it's very, like, it's a lot to take in. Anyway, little pinpricks sting all along my body, and for a second, I worry it's gonna be too hot, but then the feeling dissipates. Soon, I'm able to adjust to the temperature and relax. Well, sort of. Fuyu is staring at me and not even trying to hide it. Her eyes are sharp and she pays absolutely no mind to my feelings of embarrassment. She's pretty much the worst possible person for a newbie to the art of public bathing to be around. We really are similar. It's so strange seeing a naked human girl. Do you want me to get up so you have a closer look? Yeah, go ahead, come closer. I was being sarcastic. Do you have any idea how rude you're being? Put yourself in my position. What position? Humans don't bathe around each other, Fuyu. They feel embarrassment when exposing themselves to the nude of others. Oh. Despite this explanation, Fuyu continues staring. Fine, whatever, I don't care. Fuyu's just like, ah. Feeling the effects of the relaxing water, I let my arms drift away from my body, no longer caring that Fuyu is scrutinizing me. Ah, wow, you girls weren't kidding. Right? I found this place the last time I ran away from the park. Ah, nice to hear that something good came of your mischief. Something good always comes of my mischief. Mirari smiles coyly as she brings one hand to her face. Ever since she jumped into the hot spring, Mirari's been acting less reserved than usual. I guess a little bit of mischief is okay now and then, considering how well behaved you usually are. Though, speaking of mischief, I turn around to look at Fuyu. Rather than join Mirari and I, Fuyu is sitting by herself. She continues to squirm around, rubbing her thighs together with a red face. It couldn't be. Ever since I stopped trying to hide my body in front of her, Fuyu has been keeping to herself. It's like, what do we have here? What are you doing hiding away over there? It's like, what? Princess, what are you, Seeing Fuyu sitting all by herself, Mirari decides it's time to intervene. It's like, haha, you have to clean yourself properly, Fuyu. I know you usually just lick yourself clean, but it would be a shame to let this opportunity go to waste. No, Princess, don't. My body is sensitive right now. If you touch me there, You're right, your body is reacting to every touch. That just makes me want to play with you even more. Princess, stuck with a wave of sadism, Mirari begins to rub Fuyu's body all over. Unlike while she was washing my body, Mirari doesn't hesitate to wash Fuyu's front. She kneads Fuyu's flesh forcefully, cleaning off that area beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's like, your breasts have grown again, haven't they, Fuyu? And your skin is so smooth. I'm surprised it's still so gorgeous, considering how rarely you bathe. Princess, please stop this. What's gotten into you? Is this water messing with your brain? Oh, don't be like that. I'm not the only one acting different, right? It's like, Princess, the area is... You need to wash every inch of your body, Fuyu, especially down there. You can't normally reach that far with your tongue, right? So you need to make sure we get it nice and clean while we're in here together. No, I can wash myself. Please, Princess, just... Completely ignored to the point where my presence had been forgotten, I sit on the other side of the hot spring, trying not to show how aroused I am. No matter how hard I try to suppress my dirty thoughts, Mirari seems intent on making that impossible. Princess, don't! That place shouldn't be... Gasp. Fuyu freezes up as she looks at my face, as though she's only just remembered that I'm present. He's like, ooh, what's this? I only just cleaned you off, but the moment you looked at Scarlet, you got all dirty again. Perhaps she's the one you want to have washing you after all. What? No, of course not. How could that be possible? Fuyu protests fiercely as she turns away from me. Not even a second later, however, I catch her glancing at me out of the corner of her eye, still red in the face. You're such a poor liar, Fuyu. At least your body's honest with what it wants. Hey, Mirari, don't you think you're going a bit too far? You shouldn't be so rough with Fuyu. She's a good girl too. She's a girl too, you know. Fuyu's like, huh? Fuyu's face turns one shade of red deeper as I speak up. With her breathing momentarily stopped and her eyes fixed on my body, I'm unsure if my words have been heeded or not. Ooh, Scarlet, how bold. If you show us something like that... And Fuyu's just silent. Mirari puts an end to her assault on Fuyu and joins her in staring fixedly at me. Following their line of sight, I look down at my body. I'm squeezing my thighs together as tightly as possible while shifting around gently. Yeah, that's a giveaway. My nipples are also stiff despite being submerged in water. Also a giveaway. It's painfully obvious how turned on I am. Sorry, I didn't mean to do something so unsightly. Don't be ashamed, Scarlet. It's okay to get excited. If you want, I can help you too. Fuyu's like, what? Excited? Scarlet is aroused? Fuyu blushes even more while Mirari smiles at me. I've been trying to be covert about my desires until now, but after seeing something like that, it was no longer possible to hide it. You don't need to hold back if you want to clean yourself. No, that's quite all right. Mirari giggles while Fuyu continues to squirm around, blushing heavily. Oh well, it's not like it matters. I just got a little excited while looking at him. That isn't gonna change anything, right? Thinking about those optimistic thoughts, I sink into the hot water and relax my body once more. Atta girl. Hell yeah, who could blame you, dude? Like, damn. Following an uneventful walk back to the cabin, the rest of our day proceeds without incident. Mirari, back to her old self, cooks dinner for the three of us, all the while acting like the events in the hot spring never happened. Fuyu, on the other hand, has been uncharacteristically quiet and submissive. She's kept to herself and hasn't talked except when spoken to. Forget it, they'll be back to normal tomorrow. They've already gone to bed anyway. Rather than worry about the chaos they were creating earlier, I should simply enjoy the peace. I lay down on my bed and close my eyes. In her thoughts, there's no way she's gonna have a nice, easy, cheesy night. Being with the wolf girls all day has tired me out. Right now, all I want to do is... Yeah, I was about to say, ain't no way. Creak. Oh, for crying out loud. I regretfully open my eyes and peer towards the door of my bedroom. Watching the door carefully, I notice subtle movement as the intruder attempts to open the door more quietly than they started to. A few moments later, a familiar pair of eyes enter my line of sight, followed by two timid, curious eyes. Mirari? What are you doing sneaking around like that? You caught me. I wasn't sure if it would be better to wait until you were asleep or not. It would be better... Hey, wait! Without responding verbally, Mirari walks over to my bed and crawls on top. She then inches forward on all fours until she's right next to me, sitting with her legs at my sides. What are you doing, Mirari? If you want someone to sleep next to, go keep Fuyu company. Usually I would, but... But what? Fuyu has been a bit, restless ever since we went to the hot spring. Maybe Fuyu's in heat after all. Having her do it while we were bathing is one thing, but I can see how sleeping next to her might be problematic. So your plan is to sleep next to me instead? If you can't sleep without being right beside someone, you might want to give up running away from home all by yourself. Mirari giggles at my remark. You've got me there. But you know, I didn't just come here to sleep. did she not? Before I can ask Mirari to elaborate, Mirari started to worm her way under my blanket. Oi, Mirari, what do you think you're doing? Sleeping, just sleeping. Fine, whatever. Just hurry up and go to sleep. Yes. I close my eyes and roll onto my side, facing away from Mirari. Unfortunately, even without looking at her, I'm unable to settle down. The sound of her breath continues to stimulate me, and I can feel her body warmth on my back, even without her touching me. There's no way I'll be able to sleep like this. Calm down, Scarlet. She's here to sleep, nothing more. Bear with it, and... Okay, wow. So that was sudden, man. Like, that's one thing that's gonna be different, though, is like my ability to cut away to and from. I have to make sure I'm being careful, because it might be more difficult in editing with the new audio style. Not the point. So, wow, okay. Things happened. Things happened. So, I don't remember, like, I blacked out. I don't know what happened. So, Mirari came in, which I know I showed that, and then she started getting kind of handsy with, I mean, she started getting really handsy with Scarlet, and Scarlet was like, what the hell's happening? And it was a lot, and she started being really, really handsy, and Scarlet was going along with it, very, very happy, and I'm trying to think what else happened. And then, and so things were getting really hot and heavy, and they were getting really, really aggressive with things, and they were both super duper down with the sickness. And then, and trying to think what happened after that. Right, Mirari asked Scarlet to touch her, that's all I'm gonna say, and you were given a choice. The choice is superfluous. You could use your mouth or your hands. It was your choice. I chose mouth because whatever, it seems better. And it was fine. It was going well. And then in the heat of passion, things were going like very, very well. And then Mirari says, Scarlet, like, I want you to be my mate. And then Scarlet froze, and she's like immediately froze. And then, because Mirari was serious, so then immediately, Scarlet feels super guilty because she's like, oh my god, she's just, you know, it's just animalistic, it's just instinctual. It's not that she like specifically cares about me. It's instinctual, and obviously Fuyu's having this same problem over on the couch, and you know what I mean? And that was her whole thing. And so for Scarlet, she's like, oh my god, I'm taking advantage of this girl, and she's like, and she doesn't, it's not special, she doesn't care because it's me, it's instinctual, and I'm like taking advantage of her. So Scarlet freaks out and pulls back and backs off. And so I read a little farther ahead, admittedly, because I was worried about how hard this was gonna hurt. And then, but it ended a hair more positive than I expected. And so then, but luckily with the convenience of the scroll wheel, you can easily just back up, and you can just backtrack very quickly and easily. So, yeah. So, Scarlet has backed off, and Mirari's like, whoa, what the hell happened? We were having a great time, and Scarlet didn't respond, and this is where we are. So, in foolishly giving into my desires, all I've done is given her false hope. Even worse than that, I've encouraged her to give up on her pact by projecting my own family situation onto her. The reality is that Mirari's situation is nothing like mine. I can't encourage her to throw her life away just because she's in heat. With that in mind, Mirari stares at me in surprise as I pull away from her. After calming myself, I find the courage to face Mirari. I'm sorry, but we can't do this. Not like this. But I'm sorry, I really am. I know that you don't really want this. You're just being driven by instinct and acting on impulse. I know I'm just taking advantage of that. Regretfully, Mirari begins to dress herself. She looks dejected as she stares down at herself, but doesn't protest at all. As forceful as she was acting moments ago, Mirari isn't going to try to make me do something I disagree with. Besides, seeing that Mirari is now fully dressed, I turn to face her. This isn't the kind of thing you do on the spur of the moment with someone you barely know. You should say this kind of thing for someone you love. Mirari freezes. After a few months of silence, she tilts her heads up and looks me in the eye. Then as long as I love the other person, it's okay? If the other person feels the same way about you, then yeah. I see. Then you don't share my feelings after all. Huh? Mirari shuffles off the bed and stands up. She then walks over to the doorway and stops just before passing through. I'll just have to keep working hard until you do. So the other thing that Mirari said was, she's like, Scarlet, be my mate. And then other thing is she said, please let me stay. Be my mate. And that's what she said. And then that's why Scarlet's like, oh my god, I'm like corrupting this girl. And that's what happened. Saying so at a volume no greater than a whisper, Mirari leaves my bedroom, closing the door behind her. Even after Mirari's gone, I stare at the door silently for a while, trying to piece together everything that had just happened. Whatever it was that just transpired, I don't think I'll ever be able to look at Mirari the same way again. So yeah, it was a hair more positive than I expected. It was a hair more positive than I expected. Yeah, it was really sudden. Sorry, it was really sudden. I don't know, like my brain was not there, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? Anyway, and so then I was really scared because then it was going well, and then suddenly it wasn't, and then she's like, Scarlet, be my mate, and I'm like, that's so cute. I love that she calls it mate. I love that. Like I was all feeling all emotional, and then Scarlet just like, oh my god, and I could see Scarlet's logic. I can totally see why she, you know, I could see why she said that. I could see why she felt that way. She's like, oh my god, I'm just taking advantage of her. I don't think it's special. But then obviously Mirari did care. She did fall in love. And so she just didn't realize, she just, you know, she thought it was mutual or whatever, because that was the other thing, is she was like, because Mirari figured that Scarlet was into it, because she's like, I saw how you and Fuyu were, you know, with you, I saw how you were when you saw me and Fuyu acting that way at the hot spring or whatever. And so, you know, that's why she was like, you know, so that's why I know you're down with this or whatever. Anyway, yeah, lots to take in. Wow. Since the night I spent with Mirari, she has undergone an unexpected but not unwelcome change. Her attentiveness has increased several-fold, and so has her attention to detail. She's been working dutifully to earn her keep, but at the same time, she appears to be by my side every spare moment she gets. As a result, my cabin seems to be permanently filled with the smell of food, and the entire place is cleaner than it's ever been before. On the other hand, however, Scarlet, I'm all done cleaning the kitchen. You know what that means. I know. Come here. She's like, ah! She's like so happy. Lets out a brief cry of pleasure as I pat her head. That feels good, Scarlet. Your hands are to die for. I don't think I'll ever be able to leave you now. Real subtle, Mirari. Lately, Mirari's been really driving home the fact that she doesn't want to leave my cabin. Strangely, Fuyu hasn't been getting on her case so much as much about it either. She seems to be torn about whether to reprimand Mirari or to go along with her selfishness. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing about all this. Scarlet, after you finish reading, would you like to, you know, where we left off the other night? Huh? Mirari, what are you suggesting exactly? Oh geez, don't make me say it. You know what I'm talking about, Scarlet. Like, the entire neighborhood knows what you're talking about. Fuyu's like, I'm not deaf. Can't you two lovebirds keep it to yourself? Lovebirds? Her little laugh. Mirari smiles, her cheeks red, as she accepts Fuyu's designation without protest. I suppose it would be inappropriate to go any further while Fuyu is here. Very well, we'll continue this discussion later. For the time being, I'll return to cleaning. Don't neglect to reward me once I'm finished, Scarlet. Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, Mirari. Gross. It was bad enough with the princess acting on her own, but now that you started playing along, she's getting even worse. Playing along? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. I know exactly what's going on here. The princess wants to stay here with you, and you're letting her think that she can. You're both using each other, yet you're too dumb to realize it. Come on, Fuyu, don't be like that. Mirari and I are just making the best of a bad situation. We both know that she'll be returning to her pack soon enough. Human, do you actually believe what you just said? Fuyu narrows her eyes and glares at me coldly. The princess is serious about staying here, with you. Her advances on you are not a joke, and I think you know this. You're gonna have to give her your answer sooner or later, Scarlet. If you don't, that girl will surely force your hand. Fuyu's right, man. You can't keep messing around. It's not a joke. With Fuyu's warning still fresh in my mind, I spent the rest of the day replaying the past few days over and over in my mind. From Mirari's increased skinship to her over-the-top attentiveness, and especially her not too subtle mentions of staying in my cabin indefinitely. All of this, in addition to Mirari's visit to my room, paints a clear picture. Fuyu was right. Mirari really does want to stay here with me. Not just a resident of this cabin either. She seems to want more than that. But do I have what it takes to give Mirari what she needs? I turn onto my side and close my eyes as Mirari's face comes to mind. I like Mirari. I really do. I enjoy having her here, and deep inside, there's definitely a part of me which wants her to keep staying here with me. But I also know that if I give in to her, things will not end well. Staying here with me would mean making Mirari abandon her friends and family. She would be isolated, left only with me for company. If I truly cared about her, then could I bring myself to wish such a fate upon her? But that's the thing, though, is like, she's not gonna be happy over there, though. Like, you know, like, yes, like, in a lot of ways, it is a shame to have her isolated from her friends and family and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, Scarlet said this earlier, but like, it is the truth. Ultimately, your number one goal in life should be making you happy. That's it. You should be your first priority. Everything else should be secondary. You know what I mean? And yes, friends and family are important, like among the most important things there are. But like at the same time, like your own happiness has to come first, because you're, you know, like you can't, you know, you can't let yourself be like, okay, I'll give up on everything that makes me happy because it makes everyone around me happy. Then what's the point? Like, then there's no point anymore. Then like it's like you don't even exist at all. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like your own happiness has to come first. That's the whole bit. That's the point. Anyway. So it's not better. So it's not better to be like, you know, oh no, you'll be better. Send her back to the pack. She's obviously doesn't want that. Like, it's not gonna make her happy. Anyway, Scarlet, are you still awake? I was hoping to speak with you before you fell asleep. Brought back to reality by Mirari's soothing voice, I sit up to face her. I'm still awake. What's wrong, Mirari? Something troubling you? Yes, you could say that. Can we possibly talk outside? I nod, the unspoken understanding that Fuyu might be listening in such a small house. Ah, I was about to say why, but I was like, oh right, that's why. Outside, the air is cool but not overly unpleasant. Mirari leads us to a small clearing near the house. Satisfied that we were far enough out of earshot from Fuyu, Mirari turns to me. Oh, she's so pretty! Oh my god, dude. Scarlet, I don't know if you've realized this, but these past few days, I've been dropping a number of hints about staying here. Hints, she says. Hardly. There was nothing indirect or vague about her statements at all. Suppressing the urge to retort, I let Mirari speak. Scarlet, I don't want to inconvenience you or to pressure you into making a decision. However, I don't have the leisure of waiting indefinitely while you decide my fate either. So, I want to ask you directly, right here and now. Scarlet, will you let me stay with you here in this cabin? I bite my lip as Mirari's watery eyes bore into my skull as I struggle to answer her. Truthfully, her question is one I don't have an answer to. It's a serious question, with equally serious consequences. It's something I need time to think about, lest I do something reckless or irresponsible. Be that as it may, time is not on my side. Just as Mirari stated, she can't wait forever, nor can I expect her to. Mirari requires an answer sooner rather than later. Her pack needs to know if she will lead it, and Mirari must begin to plan the next stage of her life accordingly. Unfortunately for Mirari, however, if I'm being forced to reach the decision right this second, then it won't be the one she wants to hear. I'm sorry, Mirari, but my answer is no. I can't let you stay here. I see. I apologize for asking such a selfish question. Scarlet, what the hell? If it was wrong of me to attempt to force myself on you like this. With her lips quivering and her hands clenched tightly, Mirari looks down on her at her feet as she fights back tears. Try as she might to put on a brave face, her disappointment is clear. I'm sorry, Scarlet. I'm so sorry. I've been nothing but a burden to you this entire time, and now that it's time to go, I'm trying to take advantage of your kindness once more. I am truly a detestable person. You're wrong, that isn't it at all. I grab Mirari's shoulders firmly and force her to look into my eyes. Mirari, you haven't been a burden. In fact, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Any human would be lucky to take you in. It's just, I'm doing this for your own good. I know about your situation back home and why you want to leave, but that's exactly why I can't take you in. Mirari, you can't stay here with me like this. You need to return to your pack before you lose him forever. But you said that you're out here to be free, to get away from your family that expected so much of you. I know, and I'm sorry. In reality, our situations are not the same, Mirari. You have actual lives counting on you, while I gave up when things got too difficult. I ran away before I even tried to take over the company. Now I'll never know if it would have been too much for me or not. I'm not as strong as you think I am. Real strength comes from facing your problems head on. I'm not out here because of freedom. I'm out here because I ran away. And I don't want you to make that same mistake. You are too kind, Scarlet. Even now, when I'm troubling you so, you're still trying to spare my feelings. But you don't need to pretend anymore. If you simply tell me that you dislike me or you do not want me around anymore, I'll leave without a fight. Oh, jeez. Fine, have it your way. If words won't get through to you, then maybe actions will. Scarlet, what are you... So, Hell yeah. Before Mirari can protest, I grab her shoulders and press my lips against hers. Forcefully, yet not so hard as to hurt her, I kiss Mirari, causing her eyes to open wide in surprise. Despite her shock, Mirari does not push me away. Scarlet. I try to pull away from Mirari, but the moment I do, she wraps her arms around my back. Her surprise has turned into lust, and she isn't prepared to let me go so quickly. Scarlet, does this mean... Yeah. I like you, Mirari, more than anyone I've known in a very long time. Before I met you, I thought I was destined to live the rest of my life out here in solitude, far away from everyone and everything. But being here with you, Mirari, you reminded me of the good that comes from being with other people. I wasn't just trying to make you feel better, Mirari. I really have enjoyed your company, and I would be overjoyed to have you here with me from now on. But that's why I also have to let you go. Mirari's joyful smile turns into one of sadness in a heartbeat. No matter how many nice words I pile up, the end result is still that Mirari must go. Why? I don't understand. If you care about me too, then why can't I stay here? Why can't we be together? Why? I don't answer. Instead, I move my hand and kiss her cheek as she quietly sobs. Why do things have to be this way? All I want is to stay here with you, just as I have been until now. Why won't you let me? Once again, I kiss Mirari's cheek while I avoid making eye contact. Even without looking at her, I can tell that she's crying. Every convulsion of her body is transmitted to me clearly. I wish I was born human. Then I would be free to choose my own life without worrying about the pack or about what's best for everyone. But more than that, if I were human, then maybe I could have been together with you after all. Dude, it's just like, I'm gonna scream, dude. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna lose my shit. Oh my god. Like, that's horseshit. That's bullshit. That's ridiculous. I'm so angry. Scarlet is so stupid. Like, there's no point. Like, there's just no point. Your own happiness has to come first. Like, you know what I mean? It has to come first. And like, if Mirari would be happy and happiest here, and Scarlet would be happiest here, yes, like the other, her other group of friends and family are going to be disappointed. But the fact is, you can't live to make other people happy. Like, by doing things in your own life and taking care of yourself, maybe happiness for other people comes along as a result, but you can't live your life for other people. It's your life. Like, and that's ridiculous to think otherwise. Oh my god, we have to get to the good ending. I can't stand it, dude. A few days pass by after my tearful nighttime discussion. Given time to process what was said, both girls gradually return to their usual selves, and we go back to how we were before our trip to the hot spring. Aside from the occasional sidelong glance, we return to our previous dynamic without incident. Come on, princess, what's taking so long? Just pick a movie and put it in. I need another minute. I've narrowed my choice down to 2 tapes, but I'm having a hard time deciding on one. So watch one tonight and one tomorrow. It's not a big deal. Yeah, but, Scarlet, can we watch both of these tonight? Nope, you pick one, Fuyu picks one. That's what we agreed on. Aw, no fair. Mirari sulks as she goes back to deciding which movie she wants to watch tonight. Oh, dude, I'm so mad, dude. So mad. Just like, we gotta get through this, man. Sheesh, Mirari's actually more and more human by the day. I was right to worry about the negative impact of having the girls stay here. They seem to be getting just a little bit too used to human culture. At the rate things are going, they really won't be able to reintegrate back into their pack. I leave the girls alone and walk into the kitchen. I then turn on the radio to listen for any changes in the weather and any plans to have the paths cleared. I enjoy having these two here, but we really do need to get them home sooner rather than later. The longer they stay, the more difficult it's going to be for all of us when they inevitably leave. After listening to the radio for a short while, I turn it back off. With a smile on my lips, I return to the living room. Oh well, no use worrying about it while the paths are still blocked. Once it clear routes back to the girl's den is surfaced, then we'll talk. Scarlet, I've reached a decision. You have? About returning home? Uh-huh. Tonight, we'll watch the rest of the Grasslands documentary. Then tomorrow, we'll watch this movie about the Man of Iron. Oh, you were talking about the movie we'll be watching. Alright, sounds good to me. Then I didn't pick you although I didn't pick you for a fan of superheroes. Superheroes? Yeah, the second movie you picked. It's about a person with a suit of high-tech armor who goes around fighting bad guys. They're gonna watch Iron Man, that's funny. Oh, is that what it's about? I thought it was an educational film about blacksmiths. Why would I even have something like that? In that case, I'll pick something else. I'm not fond of violence. Alright, you go do... crunch. That. I look down at my feet as I hear a crunching sound from below. When I raise my foot, I notice numerous crumbs of food on the rug. Mirari, I thought you already cleaned the living room today. Oh yes, the food scraps on the floor. My apologies, I haven't yet started to sweep those up. Sweep them up? Yes, I will return shortly, right after I picked another movie. No, you don't need to sweep anything up. With the rug, it'll be too difficult. Haven't you ever heard of a vacuum cleaner? Vacuum cleaner? Oh, never mind. It'll be quicker to just show you how it works. Carefully, we all know how they reacted to the truck. I head into the storeroom and find the vacuum cleaner tucked away in the back corner. After making sure it's fully charged, I bring it back to the living room, turn it on, and... You're so dumb, dude! You just saw how they reacted to the car. Obviously, it's loud as shit. Like, oh my god! Anyway, I think I will bark at nothing now. That's what the achievement's called. It's kind of a little bit behind my microphone, so I have to lean away. Scarlet, be careful. That thing is... Mirari walks backwards into the kitchen, looking for a weapon to defend herself with. No, Mirari, settle down. The machine is... Ah, another one! This one managed to get into the cabin. Quick, princess, behind me, I'll take it out. It's like, Fuyu, please be careful. It already has Scarlet cornered. If it feels threatened, it might attack her. Not on my watch. Girls, come on, not this again. I know this noise unsettles you, but it's just a machine. It won't hurt you. That's what you actually said about the last one, and it swallowed you whole. I'm not taking any chances with this one. Good grief. Alright, hang on a minute. This one is... cleaning. Cleaning! While the girls are facing off against the vacuum cleaner, I grab it by the handle and move the vacuum back and forth. The vacuum sucks up the crumbs left on the floor, leaving it in a much cleaner state than before. It's moving, Fuyu, it's moving! Girl, stay back, I'm warning you. These fangs and claws aren't for show. Yes, that's right, we will not go down without a fight. Like, grr. My goodness, you two, why can't you just listen to me? Look, I'm turning it off, okay? Having cleaned the floor around where we usually eat, I turn the vacuum cleaner off. The moment I do, the noise stops and both wolf girls begin to relax. Is it dead? Careful, princess, it may be lulling us into a false sense of security. Allow me to investigate. Okay, be careful. Easy does it, easy. Now! Hey, what are you... Stop that! Chomp. The moment Fuyu enters striking range, she lunges at the vacuum cleaner and sinks her teeth into it. Fuyu, stop that! You don't need to attack it. Look, it's already dead, okay? Are you sure, Scarlet? Yes, I'm sure. Stop biting it, Fuyu. If you insist. It didn't taste very good anyway. Of course it didn't, it's plastic! Fuyu the Wise Wolf. That was another achievement. Patting herself on the back while enjoying praise from her princess, Fuyu leads Mirari into the next room. Meanwhile, I assess the damage to the vacuum cleaner, which thankfully isn't as bad as it seemed. For crying out loud, how many times do I have to tell those girls? Maybe I should send them to the hot spring or something the next time I want to use the vacuum or the truck. I mean, in a way, I guess it's good that they aren't completely used to life here. If they're gonna rejoin the pack, then it's for the best that they don't get too comfortable here. But really, of all the things I wish they'd learn while they stay here, not attacking appliances is a pretty big one. Grumbling to myself, I take the vacuum cleaner back to the storeroom and put it where I found it. Still, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if the girls got used to life here. I mean, I do want what's best for them, and I'm certain that what's best is for them to return to their pack, but even so, you're so stupid for believing that. If, hypothetically, they couldn't return to their pack then, it's not like it would be the end of the world. I mean, she obviously wants them to stay, but for some reason she feels it like, no, I've got to do the noble thing, send them back, which is obviously super dumb. Conflicted, I return to the living room. Oh well, guess it's a needless concern as long as the path is still blocked. Right now, we're all stuck together, whether we like it or... Bang, bang, bang. Princess! Princess, are you there? I followed your scent to this cabin. Please, princess, if you're there, answer me. Oh, here comes the drama. A visitor? For me? And that voice... Princess, it's someone from our pack. They found a way through the snow. Ah, yes, that must be it. Quickly, let us see to her at once. With a solemn look on her face, Mirari walks over to the door. She then unlocks the door and begins to open it, at which point her facial expression changes immediately. Princess! Oh my goodness. What happened to you? Was the trek over here truly so treacherous? When the girls open the door, what awaits them is another wolf girl. Unlike Mirari or Fuyu, however, the girl before them appears to be heavily injured. No, cough. The path is cleared. There's no problem there. Before the path was cleared, however, the injured girl looks Mirari in the eye as she speaks. Princess, your mother. My mother? What about my mother? Is she okay? Princess, the avalanche which occurred during your absence injured many of us, myself included. For every one of us injured by the avalanche, however, 2 more were killed. Among those killed by the avalanche was your mother. The queen is dead? Oh no, no. My deepest apologies, princess, but there's no time for you to grieve. After your mother's passing, you were presumed dead as well. In light of that, a challenge was made for the throne. A challenge? Who would dare? One of the surviving hunters. He took advantage of the confusion and loss of life to declare himself the new alpha male. If you don't hurry back, princess, he truly will become the new pack leader and take from you what's rightfully yours. The injured wolf girl barely remained standing, supported solely by desperation and anger. Princess, did you hear that? We must leave at once. Mother, this is no time for mourning. If you wish to honor your mother's memory, then claim the throne she left to you. But I didn't even want the throne. Those words which Mirari cannot say in front of her injured kin are transmitted to me directly, clear as day. What weighs on her mind is not the leadership of her pack, but the death of her beloved mother. Unfortunately, the other 2 wolf girls present are not about to give her the time to grieve. Princess, please, we must return and take the throne. Too many of us have already been killed or injured. What we need now more than ever is the stability of the royal family's leadership. I agree, princess. If we do not return now, who knows what fate will befall our pack? Take on the role that's left to you by your parents, princess. Become our new leader. I understand what you're asking of me, I really do, but avoiding the gazes of the two insistent wolf girls, Mirari looks to me for help. Staring at me pleadingly, she appears to be on the brink of tears as she seeks my advice. Unfortunately for Mirari, I agree with her clansmen. You need to go, Mirari. Scarlet? This is your fight, Mirari. It's for the future of your pack, which both of your parents died to protect. If you don't go, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life. But I stand directly in front of Mirari and give her a tight smile. It's okay. I'll look after your friend here. When you're done sorting out your pack business, I'll still be right here, waiting for the good news. So leave, return to your pack. And then, when all this is over, if you still want to come back and see me, I'll welcome you with open arms. Mirari looks up at me, her eyes filled with hope, and I give her one final chance at escape. Sort out your pack business, then make your decision. That is my advice to her. Very well. I will go and fulfill my obligation. Hang on. Now it's tell the girls to wait, is what we have to do. Tell the girls to wait. That's the thing. And what's funny is that decision is actually the same for both of them, I'm pretty sure. For Fuyu's ending, it's the same thing. So this is one of the ways to get to the bad ending, is to let them go. Anyway, let us... Hang on a second. I interrupted Mirari mid-sentence, causing the wolf girls to look at me in surprise. I know I said you should leave, but I didn't mean right now. Stay here for tonight. Eat well, sleep well, prepare yourself for what you'll be facing. But I place my index finger over Mirari's lips as she tries to protest. You've almost died twice in the short time we've known one another, Mirari. Please don't tempt fate a third time. Make whatever preparations you need for tonight, then settle everything tomorrow. Would you do that for me, Mirari? All right, I understand. If you really want to ask me, Scarlet, then I will do as you say. Now hold on just a minute there. We don't have time to play around here any longer. Even now, our kin must be... You too, Fuyu. Huh? I placed my hand, which was resting on Mirari's lips a moment ago, on Fuyu's shoulder. I know you feel like you need to go right this second without any delay, but please, think about this for a second. Your friend needs urgent care, and Mirari has just learned of her mother's death. Do you really think of that rushing headfirst into the action is the right thing to do? Well, that is... And of course, there's your own health to worry about as well, Fuyu. Mine? That's right. You're on edge, surprised, and feeling restless. You're worried about your kin, but also about your friends right here. If you go out there while your head is muddled, you're only going to end up wind up getting hurt. And the last thing I want is for you to end up on the same state as your friend here. Scarlet. With slightly red cheeks, Fuyu opens her eyes wide and stares at me. Ahem. Ha! Fuyu jumps in surprise as her injured friend suddenly clears her throat. Honestly, you two, you'd allow yourselves to be charmed by a human girl so easily? I'm disappointed in you both, especially you, Fuyu. What happened to the cautious soldier who despised humans, who claimed that they weren't to be trusted? Has this woman truly tamed you in such a short amount of time? Mirari and Fuyu both look down at their feet as their friend chides them. The injured wolf girl doesn't mince her words, nor does she display any joy as her friend on her face as she speaks. She truly is bewildered by the choices of her companions. That being said, the human may have a point. Our opponent is formidable. If you go out there without a plan, you'll likely end up rushing to your deaths. Before you leave, let me explain to you the depth of what's going on and who you're up against. For the next couple of hours, the wolf girls talk to their friend while treating her wounds. Mirari and Fuyu listen intently to the events that has transpired during their absence. From the search for Mirari to the avalanche and coup, all of the drama is recounted for the sake of the two girls. Mother, I had no idea. While we were sitting idly here, our pack has been... Yes, I'm afraid things haven't been going well since your disappearance, Princess. Most of the problems we now face are the result of recent weather conditions. Be that as it may, the absence of a leader has naturally compounded the issue. I can't believe everyone fell to pieces the moment our leader perished. Functioning as a pack is great and all, but when did we all lose our sense of autonomy? It's because I wasn't there. If I had just stayed put, then this would all... Mirari and Fuyu lament the state of their pack. With heavy hearts, they regret their absence in their pack's time of need and the consequences of their actions. Even if they weren't directly responsible for anything that has happened, they understand the impact of their decisions. The one who's trying to take over, does he have the support of the pack? Not especially. However, in a time that we've lost a great number of our members and everyone is frightened, a strong male presence is not to be underestimated. The pack needs a leader now more than ever. If this matter is left alone, it won't be long before he gains the pack's support. That is troublesome. When you say a strong male, do you mean... I meant that literally, yeah. To be blunt, even if you both fought him at once, you wouldn't stand a chance. If you are to defeat him in combat, you must come up with a solid strategy. Set traps, lure him into thin ice, use weapons from this human's house, do whatever it takes. Is fighting really the only way? Even if we do defeat him, it won't bring back those who have already been killed. No, but it will secure your position as pack leader and restore the pack's stability. Even so. Don't worry, Princess. You needn't lift a finger. I will take care of that traitor all by myself. Fuyu, I understand how you feel, but I don't think you should take this man on solo. In a battle to the death, one more set of hands can easily sway the outcome. While the girls talk strategy, I head into the kitchen and start to make lunch. I try to focus on the task at hand, but for the most part, I find myself deep in thought. Tormented by the reality of what my guests will soon face, I begin to feel like my time together is about to come to an end, or our time together. Having those two leave my home was supposed to be what I wanted from the very beginning. And yet, rather than see them off with a smile on my face, as I should have, I stopped them. Why? Why did I do that? That's because you know it's horseshit. Mirari and Fuyu are going to return to their pack. They'll be reunited with their friends and family, and resume their day-to-day lives. In return to my life of solitude, I won't need to take care of anyone else, or show consideration for anyone else. I'll be able to live as I choose. That's what's best for everyone. I know it is. Pfft, the hell you do. So why is it that I feel like I should get involved? Because your heart knows better. As the day drags on, a solemn atmosphere fills the cabin. Fuyu, despite desperate to protect Mirari, spends her time with the injured friend, thinking up ways to fight their common enemy. They look around the cabin for materials from which to fashion traps, talk about ways to rally the other wolves, and at all times seem to be taking the matter quite seriously. Mirari, on the other hand, separates herself from the others and sulks on her own. No doubt haunted by thoughts of her deceased mother, she remains silent, not saying or doing a thing as she mourns all by herself. While the girls do as they see fit, I try to give them as much space as I can. Contrary to how I feel, I do realize that this is a half-wolf matter and not something which a human should get involved in. As much as it pains me to see the gentle, kind-hearted wolf girls in this state, I won't butt into their affairs. Excuse me, Scarlet. May I speak to you for a moment? Oh, Mirari, there you are. What's up? I just wanted to speak to you about something. In private. I look past Mirari and over to the other wolf girls. Fuyu and the injured wolf girl are both busy looking over a map I lent them, and appear to be completely absorbed in what they're doing. We could probably just talk about it here. Those two seem pretty distracted. Yes, I suppose you're right. Even so. Mirari looks down at her feet in dejection. Whatever she wants to talk to me about, it seems like it really isn't something she's comfortable with in talking about in front of others. Alright, why don't we go into my room and talk there? Can we? I mean, only if it isn't too much trouble. It's no trouble, just let me... Hey, Scarlet, can I borrow you for a second? Hold on a minute. Can this wait, Fuyu? Mirari and I were just about to... Did you ask about the rope? Give me a minute, would you? That's what I'm asking about. So, Scarlet, we were just talking about traps we could set up, and it seems like Fuyu intercepts me the moment I'm about to leave the room with Mirari. Seeing this, Mirari breathes a small sigh, then tugs on my shirt. I'll be waiting. So anyway, about those traps... She's like, I'll be in your room. After supplying Fuyu with the information materials she needs, I begin my trek outside. Even though it's snowing a bit, it doesn't take long before I spot Mirari's footsteps in the snow, leading a short ways from the house. Standing at the edge of the forest is Mirari, who seems to be off in her own little world. Mirari? Ah! Oh, Scarlet. I didn't hear you approaching. So, what was it you wanted to talk to me about? It must be pretty serious if you don't want to talk about it in front of your own pack. It is precisely because they are my pack that I do not wish for them to hear this. Scarlet, I've given this a lot of thought, especially after hearing of my mother's fate. The truth is, I don't think I have what it takes to be the pack leader. At least, not on my own. Mirari, who was concentrating on her feet a moment ago, looks me dead in the eye. Scarlet, I want you to join my pack. What? Whoa! I didn't see that coming. Huh? You want me, a human, to join a pack of half-wolves? I do. You're kidding me. I try to laugh off Mirari's comment. However, Mirari shows no amusement on her face, nor does she appear to be joking. You really want me to join you? That's right. Why? I'm a human. I don't belong in your pack. Besides, even if you and Fuyu have warmed up to me, the rest of your pack won't accept me so easily. Once I become the pack leader, it won't matter what they think of you. Nobody would dare to speak ill of the pack leader's mate. The pack leader's what? Mirari quickly covers her mouth with her hands on her face as her face turns bright red. No, that is, as someone I personally chose and brought into the pack, it would only be natural for people to, Mirari begins to squirm as she casts her eyes towards her feet once more. Still red in the face, Mirari looks up to me with upturned eyes. Would that really be so bad? You said last time that it's okay as long as there's love, and I really do. Mirari's voice becomes barely audible as she forces herself to continue speaking. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking. So please, Scarlet, take your time and think about what I've said. Suddenly, full of life once more, Mirari exits in a hurry. Covering her face with her hands, she runs towards the cabin, quickly disappearing from my sight. As she runs off, all I can do is sit there, shocked, unable to fully comprehend what had just happened. I must have heard Mirari wrong. There's no way that she just said there's no way she said just now that she won't what she honestly feels. I mean, if I were to take everything Mirari said just now at face value and took her words literally, then the logical conclusion would be that she's like, oh my god, she loves me. Hell yeah, dude, of course she does. Come on, get with, like, smell the roses. Anyway, sorry. It's just like, come on, like, Scarlet, you don't blend in with humans either. It's meant to be. It's different than I expected, but it's great. As the morning sun rises, the inhabitants of my cabin will all woke up bright and early. Following breakfast, some last minute planning, and a few concerned comments from the only human present, we all meet in the living room one more time. I don't mean to rush you, Princess, but if you are planning to lay traps before the confrontation, you'd best hurry. Time is of the essence. Your opponent will not wait for you to gather your wits. Yes, I know. We will leave momentarily. Fuyu, are you prepared to leave? Yes, Princess. I am ready whenever you are. Excellent. In that case, we will not dally any longer. Smiling resolutely, Mirari turns to face me. Scarlet? Yes, Mirari? While it pains me to leave you like this, I promise that our parting will not be for long. The kindness you have shown me until now shall not be forgotten, nor will I regret the time we have spent together. As soon as I am able, I shall come back here to see you. Of course, you're welcome anytime. The same goes for you, Fuyu. Don't be a stranger. I suppose I might be able to make times for such an outing. Only as the princess's escort, of course. If she doesn't want to come back here, then neither do I. Yeah, I understand. Well then, if nothing more needs to be said, I believe it is time for us to head off. We will be back as soon as we're able. However, should the worst happen, don't finish that sentence. You're both going to be fine. In fact, I'm sure you'll be back here pestering me in no time. I do hope so. So do I. Bowing her head respectfully, Mirari turns around with a smile on her face. Fuyu, carrying some supplies I lent the girls, mimics Mirari's action, then follows straight after her. Mirari opens the door, ushering Fuyu out first, then follows her out into the snow. A moment later, the door's shut, and all at once, silence consumes the cabin once more. And Scarlet realizes, I don't have anything. My life is empty without them. Left in the company of the injured wolf girl, oh, I forgot she isn't totally alone, I find myself pacing restlessly around the cabin as time slowly passes by, watching the dock, waiting for something to happen, praying that the girls will be okay. I can't bring myself to relax or to focus on anything unrelated to the wolf girl's plight. All I can do is curse my own inactivity as I worry about my former guests. Damn it, why am I getting so worked up over this? The girls are gonna be fine. They've been planning their attack carefully, and the traitor has no idea that they're coming for him. Hang on. Sorry, I had to adjust my legs. They have my map, some crude traps that have been made, and probably even the support of those who followed Mirari's parents. This should all be a walk in the park. So why do I... Oh, for goodness sake, just go already. I almost jump in surprise that my remaining guests suddenly piped up. Excuse me? You heard me. You've been pacing around with that worried look on your face ever since those two left. If you're just gonna spend the entire time worrying about them, why don't you go chase after them? They should still be setting up, assuming they've even arrived yet. If you hurry, you should be able to catch up to them. I shake my head and sigh. I can't do that. This is a half-wolf matter. A human like me shouldn't get involved. Oh, please. It's a little late to be saying that now. You're already involved, whether you like it or not. The injured half-wolf girl sits up on the couch and looks directly into my eyes. I don't know what's going on between the three of you in this cabin, but the smell of pheromones coming from those girls is overwhelming. Even if they won't admit it, I am sure that at least one of them has set their eyes on you. As soon as you take one of them as your mate, you'll be part of our pack anyway. My... Hell yeah, dude! This wolf girl, dude, coming in clutch. Shout out to you for just laying it out there. My eyes open wide as the wolf girl's words begin to register. Despite my insistence that I'm unrelated to the pack business and that I should keep my nose out of their affairs, it seems the girls do not feel the same way. Take one of them as my mate. It couldn't be, could it? Mirari's offer and her calling me the pack leader's mate. No way. It looks like you already know what I'm talking about. Why not end your suffering and go after him? I'm sure they'll be happy to see you. Besides, the wolf girl's eyes suddenly narrow. They're gonna need all the help they can get. They what? What do you mean by that? Exactly what I said. We all made the preparations we could in a short amount of time, but I doubt it'll be enough. If it comes down to a direct confrontation between those two and the traitor, this will without a doubt be slaughtered. They will without a doubt be slaughtered. Slaughtered? No, but Mirari's the rightful heir, isn't she? Surely he'll give up, or the other members of the pack will help him, or help them. I wouldn't count on it. The second he sees the princess, he will kill her, no matter who is around to witness such an act. Our pack responds to strength above all else. If the princess cannot defeat a potential usurper, then she will not be accepted anyway. No way! I thought facing that guy was a last resort, not a necessity. If those two will have to fight him by themselves, they'll be... Yeah, obviously Scarlet's like, oh hell no! Without another moment of thought, I run towards the storeroom and grab my axe. In response to my sudden action, the injured wolf girl smiles at me sincerely for the first time. Best of luck, human. Go and protect your mate, no matter what hardships lies in your wake. Oh, dude, yes! Oh my god, that was everything I ever wanted, dude. That wolf girl, like, I wish she had a picture just so I could hug her. Just like, oh my god, dude, best thing in the world. Everything we ever needed. Without sparing a moment to respond to the girl's words, I nod absent-mindedly and rush out of the living room. I jump into my truck, placing my axe on my lap, and start the engine. Before the injured wolf girl can react to the noise of the engine, I drive into the snow, throwing caution to the wind as I follow the path Fuyu once led me down. Go, Scarlet, go! You gotta save your mate! It has to happen! Alright, this should be it, if I recall. The path up here is... where there was once a pile of snow blocking the path, there's now level ground. Whether someone cleared it out or nature has simply taken its course, I don't know. All I care about is the fact that I can keep driving right into the den of Fuyu and Mirari. Wait for me, girls, I'm coming. Hell yeah, let's go, dude. I continue to drive through the snow, no longer sure of which direction I'm supposed to be heading. Having never gone this far around the mountain before, I have no way of knowing if I am heading towards the girl's den or in the complete opposite direction. Damn it, what did the map say again? Oh, I knew I should have kept it in the truck. Just as frustration threatens to take over, I notice something in the distance. A few figures are moving around in the snow. Two of them are quickly circling one another while the third takes distance. As I drew closer, I recognized two of the figures. Fuyu, Mirari! And that must be... I clutch the axe resting on my lap as I focus on the third party. Facing off against Fuyu is a large creature, more wolf than man, easily several times her size. Fuyu is fighting, but clearly tired. Against the giant towering over her, she doesn't stand a chance. Shit. Rather than slow down, I press my foot against the accelerator even harder than before. My truck increases in speed, threatening to spin out of control at any moment as I rapidly approach my target. Oh, dude, she's gonna I'm gonna run his ass over. Like, this guy's as big as a tree. Hell no. Anyway. Fuyu, jump! What? Oh, what a boss, dude. Jumping out of the truck just in time. Out of the way just in time. Fuyu narrowly avoids being hit by my truck. Her opponent, however, is not so lucky. Shit, I'm losing control of the wheel! Damn it all! Without a moment to spare, I undo my seatbelt, grab my axe, and bail out of the truck. A few seconds later, the truck swerves off the side of the mountain, descending who knows how many miles before meeting its untimely demise. Scarlet? She's like, oh my god, you just like, that was so cool! Why are you... talk later. I hit him pretty hard, but I don't think it'll be enough to kill that bastard. As if responding to my words, I feel a presence manifest behind me. I turn around, swinging my axe wildly, hoping to nail the wolf on the head. Unfortunately, my luck appears to have run out. He's like, "Argh! Human filth! Ka!" My axe strikes the wolf in what I assume to be his ribcage. Unfortunately, my attack only serves to enrage the beast. The next moment, he swipes his mighty claws sideways, ripping the axe from my hands. Before I can so much as reach for my weapon, the wolf pounces on me, pinning me to the ground. Die, human! My eyes widen as the wolf raises its claws. Pinned to the ground with no hope of escape, I watch in terror as the lumbering, razor-sharp appendage swings down. It swung down. With more weight and precision behind it than I would dare to imagine, time appears to slow to a halt as death beckons to me all too soon. Get away from my mate. Oh my god, dude, I'm gonna cry. God, stupid little, come here. God, princess, you'll pay for that, traitor. The moment I resigned myself to death, I opened my eyes to find an unbelievable sight. Despite the difference in their size and the sheer hopelessness of our situation, Mirari and Fuyu are desperately fighting off the alpha male. You girls, what are you doing? You should have taken the opportunity to run away. I could never do that. How could I possibly run away with my tail between my legs while you saved me yet again? Forget about keeping score, we're talking about life and death here. You should flee and save yourself. Never, even if I lose my life, I will not let you down again. Fuyu and I will hold him off while we do that, please escape. Yeah, right, I didn't come all this way to watch this chump take you both out. I rise to my feet, grabbing my axe as I do. There are only two ways I'm leaving this place, as a corpse or together with my mate. Thunk. He's like, "Argh! The human again! Die, you miserable piece of..." Whack. Gah! With the two wolf girls holding our opponent back, I land two clear, heavy blows straight to the alpha male's head. Ow. This isn't enough to knock him unconscious, but for the first time since the girls engaged him, he appears to be weakening. Unfortunately, his strength is still too much for the girls to bear. The two of them are tossed about as though they were weightless, using all of their strength to merely hang off the wolf's limbs as he moves about. Pain spreads on the girls' faces, but they won't last much longer. You bastard! Take your hands off her! Whack. Argh! You worthless! Whack. Ah! I strike the wolf again and again, ignoring every warning my body gives me as I push myself far beyond my limit. My axe splinters, but remains in one piece. Even as it collides with the wolf's thick skull, it somehow avoids destruction. Only good for one more strike, I raise the axe over my head and put an end to the fight, once and for all. Hell yeah, dude, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That was fucking awesome. That was way cooler. I thought I'll expect this kind of twist. This is great. Anyway, not so tough now, huh? Are ya? Barely able to stand, I limp over to the unconscious wolf's ragged body. Wielding half of a wooden axe, which is now only good for stabbing prey with the broken end, I bring my weapon to the wolf's face. Scarlet, stop! Please, that's enough. The princess is right. Scarlet, lower your weapon. The pack will take care of the rest. Turning to face the girls, I regrettably drop my weapon. Even if I wanted to finish our opponent off, the truth is I don't have the strength. Scarlet, I'm so relieved. When you were pinned on the ground, I was so scared that I thought my heart would leap out of my chest. But why did you put yourself in harm's way like that? Mirari speaks with rare anger in her voice. It seems that despite being touched, she's also angry at me for risking my life. Be it the loss of blood, my overwhelming exhaustion, or a rare chink in the wall around my heart, I respond thusly. How could I not when my mate was in danger? Your mate? What I said before? Do you mean? I chuckle at Mirari's reaction. You're the one who said it first, Mirari. Don't tell me you changed your mind. No, of course not. I would never change my mind about that, not in a million years. But are you sure? I mean, all those things you said about me being better off with my pack. Yeah, I said a lot of stuff about that, huh? But you know, the way I see it, all I have to do is join your pack, and then everything will be fine, right? Gasp. Scarlet, do you mean that? Really mean that? I nod. I don't know what it's like to live with a pack of half-wolves, but that kind of challenge, or what kind of challenge awaits me. All I know is the time I've spent with you has been the best of my life. If joining your pack is what it takes for those days where you've shared together to continue indefinitely, then it's a price I'll gladly pay. Scarlet. Mirari's legs buckle. She buries her face in her hands, crying tears of joy as emotion and fatigue overwhelm her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I put you through so much. I've made you do so much for me, and yet you still... Shh, it's all right, Mirari. Enough apologizing. You didn't force me to do anything. Everything that's happened between us was my own choice, and I'd happily do it all over again. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I'm all emotional. Let's go. Mirari continues to cry as I hold her in my arms. While their pack carts off the alpha male, Mirari, Fuyu, and I take our leave. Hell yeah. We slowly trudge through the snow, heading back to my cabin with clear exhaustion and relief painted on all of our faces. Yeah, now that you just KO'd your truck. Finally, it's over. She's gonna have to learn to survive like a wolf. Which, hey, that'll be cool. Hell yeah. Anyway, upon returning to the cabin, Fuyu wastes no time in making herself useful. She takes the gear I had been using to treat her friend and picks up where I left off, clumsily figuring out for herself how human medicine works. Before long, Fuyu's treatment becomes centered around her dialogue with the injured girl, rather than the actual application of medicine. She tells the injured girl everything that happened, including the many embarrassing things that were said. Thankfully, by the time she gets to that part, I had already left the room. And so has Mirari, obviously. So, here we are again. I'm going to ask this once, just to make sure, but are you really okay with this? Yeah, I'm willing to bet a cut's going to happen, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of a pause after each sentence to give me time. I appreciate your concern, Scarlet, but it is unnecessary. If I didn't want this, I wouldn't have come here the first time. Smiling gently, Mirari sits down on the edge of my bed. Despite her apparent composure, I can see that her hands are shaking, and I don't miss the quick glances that she throws my way. Prepared or not, Mirari is still nervous. Do you remember what you said last time, Scarlet? You told me that I should save myself for someone I love, and only do this with them if they love me back. Well, I'm sure it goes without saying at this point, but I love you, Scarlet. From the bottom of my heart, I truly do love you. Mirari fidgets, her face bright red as she smiles and looks down at the floor. How about you, Scarlet? Not to put you on the spot, but I love you too, Mirari. I meant everything that I said today about staying with you, joining your pack, and of course, becoming your mate. She's like, I'm so happy, dude. Mirari's body grows rigid as my heartfelt words reach her. It takes Mirari a few seconds to settle down, but once she does, a lengthy sigh escapes from her lips. In that case, this time around, there's no reason to hold back. Okay, so here's the thing: is I initially, of course, I'm gonna cut away, but like I'm just gonna have to like completely block the screen because there's almost nothing I can show you. But this line is so cute, I can't pass it up. This time for sure, I'm going to make you mine, Scarlet. There we go. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted. All right, we can cut away now. Okay, we're back. Obviously the screen's all white. We are just on the other side of the ecchi scene, and lots of very cute words were exchanged, can I just say? One of the lines is that Mirari was saying that she's like, I wish I could, well, because, okay, things were happening, okay? And Scarlet playfully bit Mirari, and Mirari said, are you perhaps marking me? And Scarlet's like, marking you? Like, I am confusion. And Mirari explained that in the half-wolf, like in their culture, like normally it's obvious who is whose mate because you can smell like that their scent is on the other person's fur, and so it's like it's very obvious. You can tell it's a pheromone thing. You know what I mean? And so, but obviously Scarlet doesn't have a tail or fur or anything. So, and so then Scarlet said, well, you know, and she's like, well, you know, in human culture we usually have like an engagement ring to mark someone as taken, you know what I mean? And so then they kind of pondered that for a while. Anyway, and there was lots of very, very cute lines. It was great. Anyway, afterwards, we lay on the bed clutching at each other in an ecstasy we'd never felt before. I love you, Mirari, and I always will. I love you too, Scarlet. She whispers, smiling from ear to ear. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. As the mate of the new pack leader, my daily life has become busier and more tiring than I previously thought possible. Mirari's pack, even after losing so many of its members, is still of a significant size. I could spend years as part of the pack and still never manage to remember everyone's name. Thankfully, to my surprise, the pack welcomes me, just as it does Mirari. Mirari, the rightful heir, and Scarlet, the human who defeated the would-be usurper. Needless to say, we are a pair whom everybody has their eyes on. Despite my position by Mirari's side, there is surprisingly little expected of me. My main duty within the pack is to teach everyone, particularly the young cubs, about human society. How to watch out for traps, when to flee, when to fight, which human supplies are edible, so on. That's so cute, dude! I can't take this! There was one thing Mirari specifically requested of me once I joined the pack. With a beautiful and ornate wooden ring, Mirari adhered to human traditions one night while getting down on one knee. Oh! Oh my god, dude! I'm like crying. I'm so happy, dude. The Wolf Princess Bride, that's the achievement up there. I've gotta say, of all the things I expected to happen out here, getting married was not one of them. Heck, I didn't even know half-wolves did that kind of stuff. From what you told me about human marriages, it does seem like there are quite a number of differences between those and the ones we hold. Our weddings ultimately come down to a simple pledge, to love one another until the day you both die. Yeah, human weddings are a bit more complicated than that. They're more about spending lots of money, taking tons of photos, and applying for tax breaks. Tax breaks? Forget it, it was just a joke. Really though, to think that you'll be leading all these people. We'll be leading all of these people. I may be the official leader, but I'll still be counting on you to assist me as much as possible. Oh, I thought my only duties were to help Fuyu raise the pack's cubs and teach them about human culture. Those are important too, but that isn't all you'll be doing. And of course, if nothing else, I won't ever let you forget about your main job. My main job? As if waiting for me to ask that question, Mirari pulls me forward immediately and kisses me on the cheek. To stay by my side, forever and ever. That's a promise I can make. With a kiss, we make our vows. Oh, dude, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's great, dude. 10 out of 10. I would recommend. Hell yeah. That was awesome. Man, that was like, I've owned this one for a long time. Whatever I spent on it, best money ever. Great purchase, previous Joshua. Great purchase on your part. Damn. Anyway, this was awesome. So this is obviously much shorter. There's a few cuts, and so this will be a little closer to normal size. As always, I'm very tempted to just hit the other route, because technically the other route, like, I mean, there's only those other decisions, but like, the thing is, like, but the problem is, like, yesterday I did a huge, massively long video that was like a double episode, and I'm a little worried that going for the Fuyu route, admittedly, I really like Mirari, so suddenly I almost forgot her name, and then I'm not even positive that's it. I really love Mirari, but I really like Fuyu. I think I like Fuyu even more. And so I'm really excited about the next route, you know, to get her ending. The only problem is, like I said, I'm tempted to put this to like make it one longer video, and maybe I could skip through a lot of it, but at the same time, like, because there is this cute little guide that I found so that it tells you all the dialogues to say. I mean, otherwise, let's see here. I mean, otherwise, yeah. I mean, because like otherwise, I don't know. There's a few that are the same, but there's a lot that there's a few we didn't say, there's some that we did, but obviously all the big stuff will be different, and I think bottom line is that, I think it'll probably end up taking more time than I assume. I think that's probably, no doubt, what will happen. So, that being said, I do think I'll probably try to be responsible, and we'll call the episode here, and then come Thursday we will hit Fuyu's. We'll go through Fuyu's route. Obviously, the bonus is if we did do it in one video, of course, would be then I wouldn't have to make it a playlist. I could put it in probably random games, I guess. Because this will be the first game. I mean, like, it would have been if I did it this way, which I don't think I'm going to. But it would have been the first time I had done a full playthrough of a full game that was only one video. So I guess I'd probably put it in random games, I guess. Anyway, regardless, not the point. So yeah, I think I'll try to be responsible. We will call it here for today. Thursday will be part 2, the finale of this game. We will go through Fuyu's route, and it will be probably a little bit shorter because some of the decisions are the same. And so there might be a couple of skips there, and it'll probably be a little bit shorter. If the video's too short, we might do something else added on. We might start part 1 of my new main playthrough or whatever. Obviously, this one's a shorter one, but I have a million of these visual novels on Steam. I have quite a few, and with each passing Steam sale, I get more, and so, you know, it makes sense. So even if they're short, that's okay. I mean, this was awesome. I really enjoyed this. This was really great, and I'm, like, really excited about Fuyu's ending. And so, yeah, so stick around if you're interested. There's a lot more visual novels and other games coming along. Otherwise, I am low-key hoping to actually record Divinity tonight, because then that way, tomorrow night, I only have to get it edited, and then that way for Thursday, we are on track for not missing an episode. So I am hoping to record Divinity tonight, so that way tomorrow all I have to do is edit it, which would be more simple. So that's the plan. That's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, this was so good. I like, you know, it was obviously it was shorter. It was a shorter time, and we still have, of course, Fuyu's ending to get in the next video. But I love this stuff, man. Like, no doubt you can tell by my commentary, but I love visual novels because it's the same vibe as anime. It's the same vibe as anime. It does all the same things anime does for me. It brings that smile to my face. It makes me giggly. It makes me invested. It like has all these effects on my emotions that many other things in life don't do to me. You know what I mean? I don't get like this about anything other than a really great game or a really good anime. You know what I mean? Like, and so like this level of like emotions that this stuff brings out, like, that's how you know it's good. That's how you know it's special. That's how you know it matters. And yeah, and so it's just like that's why I love visual novels, and I love anime and gaming, and that's why, because it just invokes like such emotions in me, and it's just really exciting, and I love this stuff. I love the relationships and the feels and all that stuff. I am a romanticist, to say the least, and I am always chasing a good romance. So yeah, it's just a good time, man. Love it to death. Can't get enough. So yeah, this will be going up Thursday. We'll finish this game up, and we'll get Fuyu's route. Very excited for that. And yeah, and then otherwise, I'm trying to think if that's everything. Yeah, I'm trying to think if that's everything. I think so. So yeah, hoping the Divinity should be normal for Thursday. Everything should be okay there. Otherwise, it's nothing too incredible. I am not going out to get my meds today, I can tell you that. Maybe tomorrow after work, maybe Thursday. But so Thursday should be normal. This weekend should be normal. But obviously, come Thursday, we'll finish this game. If it's too short, we'll probably jump into something random to make up some time. We'll just see what happens with that. But then, depending on what happens with that, then we'll have to come up with something new. And we might jump right into another visual novel. We might switch genres finally at that point. We'll just see what I feel like. So Anyway, that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.